Chapter 33:55. Thor Dragon was startled. He also realized that he was too impatient. He probably didn't want to harm his father, but rather, he was doing something else. His father's expression right now was one of excitement and happiness. Thor Dragon quickly shut up and carefully moved to the door, not daring to speak anymore. Don't be impatient. Lin Yi looked at Lin Yi. In fact, Lin Yi's true chi came from the space inside the jade pendant, and Lin Yi's body was just a conductor, so he didn't need to spend much energy on it. He was just afraid that Thor Dragon would suddenly attack him, catching him off guard. Good. Thor Dragon nodded repeatedly. However, although Thor Dragon didn't speak, the shocked expression on his face became more and more wonderful. He couldn't believe that Lin Yi actually healed him like this. No wonder he and his companions were crippled, but they could still be full of vigor. It turned out that Lin Yi was more powerful than some top-grade, fourth-grade Great Recover pill. Finally, Lin Yi repaired all the meridians in Thor Dragon's body. Lin Yi also released Thor Dragon's wrist. He didn't help Thor Dragon improve his strength because Thor Dragon hadn't been injured for a long time. He believed that after some time, he would be able to recover on his own. It's done. Lin Yi let go and said to Thor Ryu, now that you've seen what I'm capable of, you shouldn't doubt my words anymore. Go kill Yi and give me a fifth of the energy stones here. I'll heal your son's injuries. Yes, Mr. Lin, I will do it. At this moment, Thor Dragon's body instantly released the domineering aura of a cultivator. Although he couldn't completely reach the peak of the late stage of heaven rank, he could already reach the late stage of heaven rank. He believed that as long as he recovered a little, he would be able to return to his peak state. Of course, Thor Dragon also saw the strength released by his father. While he was happy, he was also very shocked. Lin Yi's ability was too powerful. Just by taking a pulse, he can heal injuries? What kind of mantra was this? However, he didn't dare to ask. After all, Lin Yi wasn't a person who was easy to get along with. From his information, this kid would kill someone in a second without saying a word. Even his third brother was killed in a second. He didn't want to provoke Lin Yi again. Mr. Lin, please follow me. I'll arrange a VIP room for you, Thor Dragon respectfully said. At this moment, he had already regarded Lin Yi as an honored guest of the Bubbly clan. Moreover, he could also see that Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. The conditions that he proposed weren't difficult for the Bubbly clan. To tell the truth, the Bubbly clan didn't have much use for discarded energy stones. Who could wait for 100,000 years? At that time, it was unknown whether the Bubbly clan still existed. In the Thor Dragon's opinion, killing Yi was perfectly normal. He wanted to kill Lin Yi, so Lin Yi killed him instead. There was nothing wrong with that. Mr. Lin, aren't you going to personally kill Yi? Thor Ryu felt a bit strange. If Lin Yi could seriously injure Thor Dragon, then he should have the strength to kill Yi. No, it's not good to make a move. Lin Yi waved his hand. It wasn't that he couldn't make a move. He could injure Yi, but killing him was hard to say. If Lin Yi released a big move and didn't kill Yi, then he wouldn't be able to use it immediately. It wouldn't be good if his flaws were seen through. Thus, it was better to let the Bubbly clan do it for him. All right, I'll let Thor Dragon and Thor Shan make a move. They are peak late-stage heaven-rank powerhouses. They should be able to get rid of Yi. Thor Ryu didn't say anything else. In his eyes, if Kong Ming Ming couldn't make a move, then Lin Yi wouldn't be able to make a move either. Your Bubbly clan doesn't have any peak late-stage heaven-rank powerhouses. Lin Yi asked after hearing that. There are, but do you need so many powerhouses to deal with Yi? Thor Ryu asked. This Yi is stronger than an ordinary peak late-stage heaven-rank powerhouse, so I suggest that you attack him together. Bring your other son here. I'll heal him. Then you can attack together. Lin Yi said. Thor Ryu was very moved after hearing Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi was really thinking about them. Unlike Kong Ming Ming, who pretended to be courteous, Kong Ming Ming gave them a fake reminder. But not only did Lin Yi remind them, but he also wanted to heal Tortu in advance. This meant that Lin Yi was afraid that the Bubbly clan would suffer a loss and help them. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Rest assured, Mr. Lin, I'll immediately find someone to help Mr. Lin pack these energy stones. I'll also select some energy stones that have already been charged. Thor Ryu said, That's not necessary. I don't need to charge them. It's best if there aren't any. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, Since we've discussed the conditions, it doesn't matter if I heal your son a step earlier. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Thor Ryu saw that Lin Yi refused his good intentions, so he didn't force him. He nodded and went to find Tortu. Tortu was disheartened. Although he knew that his father got him a top-grade, fourth-grade, great rejuvenating pill from Kong Ming Ming, but to be honest, was it that easy to refine a top-grade, fourth-grade, great rejuvenating pill? Kong Ming Ming agreed, but he didn't know when he would be able to refine it. Tortu didn't think that he would be so unlucky. Not only did he fail to kill Lin Yi, but he was also crippled. However, when Thor Ryu pushed the door and entered Tortu's room, Tortu suddenly froze. Father, your strength. Thor Ryu didn't hide his strength, so Tortu could easily feel that Thor Ryu's strength was at the late stage of heaven rank. This made him very shocked. Your strength is recovered? Kong Ming Ming gave you the pill? It's not Kong Ming Ming, it's Lin Yi. Thor Ryu sighed and told Tortu about what happened before. After Tortu heard it, a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. If it was before, he definitely wouldn't believe that Lin Yi had such a magical ability to heal other people's injuries. But now that his father was standing in front of him, Tortu couldn't help but believe it. Can I also recover? Tortu didn't expect happiness to come so quickly. Chapter 3356. Don't worry, Father. I don't have any enmity with him. All of this was caused by Kong Ming Ming. After I recover, I'll directly deal with Kong Ming Ming. Tortu said hatefully. Tortu and Lin Yi arrived at Lin Yi's resting room. Lin Yi didn't say any nonsense and directly started healing Tortu. Thor Ryu and Thor Dragon stood on the side to protect him. When they saw that Tortu had recovered to his peak late-stage heaven rank, they cried tears of joy. These past few days had been spent in darkness for the Bubbly clan, and now they'd finally welcomed the light. Knowing how to repay kindness, Thor Ryu didn't rest. Instead, he took Thor Dragon, Thor Shan, Tortu, and the two elders of the Bubbly clan to Yi and Kong Ming Ming's room. When Kong Xiaoming opened the door, he saw a large group of people standing in front of the door. He was puzzled. Old master, you came here? Why did you bring so many people? What are you doing in such a grand manner? Nothing. Thor Ryu faintly smiled and stepped into Kong Ming Ming's room. The 5 people behind him also rushed in. No. Your strength. Kong Ming Ming suddenly pointed at Thor Ryu and exclaimed, How come you aren't a cripple anymore? Surprised? There is something even more surprising. Attack. Thor Ryu suddenly shouted. As he spoke, his figure flickered slightly, and the 5 people behind him charged straight at Little One. Little One's pupils slightly shrank. He hadn't expected the Bubbly clan to attack them, but he quickly reacted and put up a defense. But what made him helpless was that the 5 people in front of him were actually at the peak of the late stage of the heaven realm. If he was facing a peak late stage heaven rank expert, he might be able to win. After all, he was from the 5 Elements sect. His strength was stronger than other cultivators of the same rank. But now, with 5 people attacking together, no matter how strong he wasn't their match. Let's talk this out. Little One retreated. Under the combined attack of these 5 people, he had no confidence in surviving. However, Tol Dragon, Tol Shan, Tol Tu, and the 2 elders didn't intend to explain or stop. The 5 of them simultaneously activated their incantations, drew out a magical weapon that seemed to be made of the bones of some wild beast, and smashed it towards Little One at the same time. The Bubbly clan's weapon was the bone of a type of spirit beast, and it was slightly different from the ones used in the cultivation world of the Central Plains. Of course, this was related to their clan, let alone using a heaven-ranked divine weapon. Even if he didn't use it, Little One wouldn't be a match for Lin E. After Little One's divine weapon was taken away by Lin E still hadn't returned it. The current situation caused Little One to want to cry. Lin E wanted to kill him. Furthermore, they were all ruthless moves, catching Little One off guard. Although he had true chi protecting his body, with 5 top-notch experts attacking him at the same time, no matter how he defended, he would still die. There was no hope of survival. Therefore, Little One was anxious. He gritted his teeth. Even if he had to die, he had to drag someone down with him. Boom. The 5 experts of the Bubbly clan hit He-Yi at the same time, and the bone weapon smashed into He-Yi's body with a loud bang. And in the instant that Little One was hit, he also moved. He suddenly activated his strongest martial technique, the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist, and directly attacked Toll Dragon, who was at the forefront. Even if I die, I'll drag someone down with me. Little One's expression was fierce. He never thought that he would die here, but since he couldn't live, he would drag someone down with him with his last breath. Toll Shan attacked with all his strength. He didn't expect that He could still struggle under the joint attack of several people. Although he quickly activated his incantations and used true chi to protect his body, it was already too late. Moreover, He-Yi's 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was one of the strongest moves of the 5 Elements sect, second only to the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm. However, the higher the level of the cultivator of the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm, the disadvantages of the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm became apparent. He only had 10 moves, so an Earth-grade cultivator could use it, but a Heaven-grade cultivator would have no advantage. The 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was different, but at the Earth grade, it wasn't as powerful as the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm. Of course, this was also referring to the current 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist. The current 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was actually an incomplete martial technique. Originally, only those who possessed the 5 elements could cultivate it. Just like the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm, all attributes had to be fused together in order to display the greatest power. However, although the 5 Elements sect was called the 5 Elements sect, how many people possessed the 5 elements? It was no wonder that Patriarch Xianchen valued Taganlong and Tianchan so much. In the past, there was a talented senior in the 5 Elements sect who modified the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist into one of the 5 elements. Any single attribute could be activated and used, but its power was greatly weakened. However, it was still much stronger than ordinary martial techniques. It was just that every time it was activated, it would drain all the physical strength and true energy in the body. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, Little E would not use it. Now, he was definitely going to die, so there was no need to leave any way out for himself. The original 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was very powerful, even more powerful than the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm. However, it had been lost. After the senior took away the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist to modify, he took the original 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist mantra and went into seclusion. He wanted to perfect his modified 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist and see if it could become a martial technique that could be activated by cultivators with 2 or 3 attributes. However, that senior never came out of his closed-door cultivation. Instead, he went berserk when he was modifying the secret manual, causing his body to explode. Even the original version of the 5 Elements 8 trigrams palm secret manual was destroyed. From then on, this martial arts technique was lost. Otherwise, Patriarch Xianchen would definitely let Taganlong and Tian Chan practiced the original 5 elements reincarnation fist. Boom. The Thor dragon was sent flying by He's critical strike before he died. He crashed into the door and directly broke it. Then he fell into the corridor, bleeding from all 7 orifices. It was obvious that he had suffered a very serious internal injury. He laughed out loud and collapsed on the spot. Satisfied, he rushed to the underworld. As for Kong Ming Ming, he was scared silly. He didn't know what had happened. Why did Thor Dragon's son and Moon get someone to kill as soon as he entered the door? I didn't provoke him. He hid at the side, shivering, not knowing what to do. Chapter 3357. Final volume. Volume 10, Path of Heaven. Seeing the dying Thor dragon on the ground, Thor Rimoon quickly took out a jade bottle, took out a level 3 great restoring pill, and put it in a Thor dragon's mouth. After taking the great restoring pill, Thor dragon's complexion improved slightly, but his injuries didn't recover. He can only say that he won't die for a while. Father, I can't do it. I didn't expect he to use such a move before he died. Don't worry too much, Thor Dragon. Hold on, Mr. Lin can save you. Thor Rimoon said anxiously. My injuries are too serious. Thor Dragon smiled bitterly. And why would Mr. Lin save me? Thor Dragon's words stunned Thor Rimoon. Then he remembered that he made a deal with Lin E. Lin E healed his and Tortu's injuries in order to kill He in exchange for wasted energy stones. Now that Thor Dragon is here, will Lin E save him? However, no matter what, Thor Rimoon still wants to try. He picked up Thor Dragon and said to the 2 elders of Bubbly Clan, Thor Elder, Thor Jr., look after Kong Ming Ming. Don't let him escape. Yes. The 2 elders nodded. Thor Shan, Tortu, come with me, Thor Rimoon said and quickly ran to Lin Yi's room. A sudden knock on the door made Lin Yi slightly stunned. He opened the door and saw Thor Rimoon holding Thor Dragon. This surprised Lin Yi. Old patriarch, Mr. Thor Dragon is... Mr. Lin, Thor Dragon was seriously injured by He's last attack. I hope Mr. Lin can help. Thor Rimoon said. Oh. Lin Yi looked at Thor Dragon. Although Thor Dragon's injury is serious, it should be controlled by the elixir. He won't die for a while. However, Lin Yi didn't agree immediately. Instead, he said, Old patriarch, do you think that I don't need to pay the price for healing others? Healing you. And Torta cost me a lot of stamina and true chi, and my strength level almost dropped. Thor Rimoon just remembered that Lin Yi used chi to heal others. It's no wonder. How much chi can a cultivator have? How precious was their physical strength and true chi? Otherwise, energy stones wouldn't be priceless. Lin Yi had to pay a price as well. So Thor's Sun and Moon asking Lin Yi to heal the Thor Dragon was a bit too shameless. Of course, it's not that Lin Yi is deliberately making things difficult for them. It's because Lin Yi and the Bubbly Clan only have a business relationship. If the Bubbly Clan didn't do anything to him at the beginning and imprison him in the dungeon, then Lin Yi will do them a favor. But now, the Bubbly Clan first cooperated with Kong Ming Ming, seeing that Lin Yi is strong, then they cooperated with Lin Yi. So, the Bubbly Clan's position in Lin Yi's heart fell, and Lin Yi won't be so sincere to them. Sometimes it's necessary to be careful. Mr. Lin, if you save Thor Dragon, what's the price? Thor Rimoon is not stupid. Since he made 2 deals with Lin Yi, he might as well make another one. He has already been killed by us. Killing he was originally the condition we agreed on. Lin Yi shook his head faintly. If I save him, the loss of true chi is too much. We can use 10 full energy stones in exchange. Thor Rimoon hesitated for a moment and said, I don't need full energy stones. Lin Yi refused. Do you have anything else? Then there are things like medicinal pills. Mr. Lin probably doesn't need them. Thor Ri, you suddenly thought of something when he said this. Didn't Lin Yi say before that Kong Ming Ming still owes Lin Yi a chi-gathering pill? Does Lin Yi need this chi-gathering pill? If that's the case, thinking of this, Thor Remoon quickly said, our bubbly clan still has a chi-gathering pill. I don't know if Mr. Lin needs it. Chi-gathering pill is not very useful for the bubbly clan. They have a lot of energy stones to cultivate. They don't need a chi-gathering pill at all. Originally, they exchanged a few chi-gathering pills, so they didn't continue to exchange. Now, they only have one left. Chi-gathering pill? Lin Yi raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect the bubbly clan to have such a thing, so he slowly nodded and said, chi-gathering pill is fine, but you should also know that the value of a third-level pill is not enough for me to take action. I understand that, Mr. Lin. Our Powley clan will engrave your kindness in our hearts. Consider it as our bubbly clan owes Mr. Lin a favor. If Mr. Lin needs anything in the future, as long as our bubbly clan can do it, we will definitely do it, Thor Remoon said. Good. You protect Thor Dragon. Linny said. He reached out and buckled Thor Dragon's pulse, then started to circulate the art of dragon mastery. Although Lin Yi took action because of the chi-gathering pill, after all, the bubbly clan hasn't taken out the chi-gathering pill yet. Lin Yi has already taken action. This made Thor Remoon very grateful. Although Lin Yi's words are complicated, treating Thor Dragon is really a piece of cake. After Thor Dragon recovered, Lin Yi loosened his hand and said, it's done. Thor Remoon was about to ask Thor Dragon how he feels, but Thor Dragon suddenly jumped up and bowed deeply in front of Lin Yi. Then he cupped his fist and said, thank you, Mr. Lin, for saving my life. This one will never forget it. From now on, Thor Dragon's life belongs to Mr. Lin. The bubbly clan owes Mr. Lin a favor. I, Thor Dragon, will follow Mr. Lin's lead. Thor Remoon looked at his eldest son. In the end, he didn't say anything. He understood his eldest son's character. He is a person who knows how to repay kindness. He also knows that the value of a chi-gathering pill is not enough to exchange for his life. To be honest, if the bubbly clan wanted a chi-gathering pill and an energy stone would be enough, they wouldn't even need 10 energy stones. However, Lin Yi didn't ask for 10 energy stones. Instead, he asked for a chi-gathering pill. This shows that Lin Yi might need this thing, so he gave it to the bubbly clan without much trouble. Hee. How is Kong Ming Ming? Lin Yi doesn't need Thor Dragon for the time being. He is far away in the foreign land, far away from Lin Yi. Distant water can't put out a nearby fire, so Lin Yi doesn't need him to do anything for the time being. Chapter 3358. Update. Fishman's new book, Best Cultivator, has been released. You can click on Fishman Toos, author's name on the Chigen page to enter it. Please vote for the new book. Let him go. Lin Yi thought for a moment and said, even if he has chi-gathering pills, he intends to let Kong Ming Ming go. Even if Lin Yi doesn't need chi-gathering pills, he still has Han Jingjing and others. Oh, okay. Although Lin Yi wondered why Lin Yi wanted to let Kong Ming Ming go, since Lin Yi has decided he didn't ask much. He ordered Tortu to find chi-gathering pills for Lin Yi. Thor went to release Kong Ming Ming, while he and Thor Dragon sat in Lin Yi's room and talked to Lin Yi. This time, I'm afraid I can't take all the energy stones back. My car can't fit them. Lin Yi said, let's leave them here for the time being. I will come back to get them when I have time. Ah, Mr. Lin, are you leaving? After listening to Lin Yi's words, Thor Ryu was shocked. Yeah, there are still a lot of things to do at home. I have achieved my purpose of coming here this time, so I have to go back. Lin Yi said, if there's anything you need, you can call me or come find me. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Lin Yi was very moved. Lin Yi's words are equivalent to a promise. In the future, if someone in the bubbly family has their meridian severed, it is estimated that Lin Yi will not sit idly by. Perhaps Thor Dragon's attitude moved Lin Yi. In short, Lin Yi can be regarded as a good karma. Kong Ming Ming was released and even his car was returned to him. They even helped him fill up the gas. This made Kong Ming a little puzzled. He didn't know what the bubbly family wanted to do. Old patriarch, what do you mean by this? You killed my senior brother. Don't you want to cooperate with our Five Elements sect? In fact, Kong Ming Ming has vaguely guessed the gist of the matter. It is estimated that the bubbly family is relying on Lin Yi. Didn't Thor Ryu and Torta recover from their injuries? Even Thor Dragon, who was beaten by Xiao Yi, became fine. If Kong Ming Ming still doesn't know what is going on, then he is really a fool. He was no longer the Kong Xiaoming who ate dog shit. He'd matured in this period of time, and that was why he was puzzled. Why did Lin Yi let him go? Why did you let him go? Kong Ming Ming didn't say anything. He just retreated to the side. Just as Kong Ming Ming was about to say something, a familiar voice sounded. The owner of this voice was Lin Yi. Kong Ming Ming, you and I can be considered as old acquaintances. We can also be considered as fellow disciples. So this time, I will let you go. I hope you can refine the Qi gathering pill as soon as possible. Boss Lin Yi, thank you so much. Although Kong Ming Ming said so, he hated Lin Yi to the core. He thought, refining gathering Qi pills? I'll refine an extreme Qi gathering pill for you and eat you to death. I won't send you off. Send my regards to Patriarch Xianchen. Take Xiao Yi's corpse back. To be honest, I hate him. If you came by yourself, you might not have died. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he turned around and left. Kong Ming Ming knew about the grudge between Lin Yi and Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi once beat Lin Yi up like a dead dog. It was reasonable for Lin Yi to find an opportunity to kill Xiao Yi. However, since Lin Yi let him go, there was no need for Kong Ming to stay any longer. He got in the car and quickly drove away Five Element Sect. These days, good things happened one after another for Patriarch Xianchen. There was good news from Kong Ming Ming that he had imprisoned Lin Yi. There was also good news from Dr. Benjamin too. The technical problems of the second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron had been solved. It had been replicated and could be put into mass production. At this moment, Kong Ming Ming called. Patriarch Xianchen picked up the phone. Xiaoming, I was just about to look for you. I have good news for you. Father-in-law, I have bad news for you, Kong Ming Ming said with grief and indignation. Bad news? Patriarch Xianchen was stunned. His good mood instantly fell to the bottom. Then tell me first, the bubbly clan changed sides at the last minute. They actually cooperated with Lin Yi. They killed eldest senior brother. Kong Ming Ming said with a bitter face, if it wasn't for Lin Yi counting on me to refine the Qi gathering pill for him, I'm afraid I would have been left there too. What? The bubbly clan doesn't want the top-grade, fourth-grade Great Recover pill anymore? Patriarch Xianchen was shocked. Lin Yi healed the injuries of Thor Ryu and Tortu. Lin Yi has a magical ability in this aspect. We learned about it before. Who knew that the bubbly clan knew about it? In the end, Kong Ming Ming explained with a bitter smile. Then I understand. Patriarch Xianchen sighed after listening. He vaguely knew about Lin Yi's ability, but he didn't study it much. After all, a person could only cultivate a limited number of mantras. It was useless to study other things. Moreover, if Lin Yi could cultivate it, the people of Five Elements sect might not be able to cultivate it. Otherwise, there would be no need for Tag On Long. Come back quickly. It's good that you're fine. Otherwise, little 11th will be a widow. He will have a hard life. I'm on my way back. By the way, father-in-law, what is the good news you mentioned before? Kong Ming Ming suddenly thought of the good news that Patriarch Xianchen had mentioned before. Good news? I'm not in the mood to talk about it now. Actually, it's like this, Patriarch Xianchen said. Elder Xianchen said, Professor Benjamin too has already cracked Lin Yi's second-grade automatic medicine cauldron. We can now mass-produce it. That's great. We can't kill Lin Yi for the time being. We can attack Lin Yi from this aspect, Kong Ming Ming was immediately full of morale when he heard this, and I think so too. We can only do this for the time being, Patriarch Xianqin said, helplessly. By the way, father-in-law, actually, little first death is not necessarily a bad thing. Kong Ming Ming suddenly said, Oh, what do you mean? Patriarch Xianqin was a little stunned. You mean because of Little 11th? Previously, Little First also liked Little 11th. That was why Patriarch Xianqin had such a guess. After all, if the two of them were to look into it, they could be regarded as love rivals. Chapter 3359. Zhao Ming, what you said makes a lot of sense. Patriarch Xianqin didn't think so much before. Now that he heard Kong Ming Ming's analysis, he felt that it was really the case. Lin Yi didn't have the ability to kill a peak late-stage, heaven-stage great perfection expert. This was good news. At least Lin Yi wasn't invincible. After hearing this news, Patriarch Xianqin was relieved. As long as Lin Yi wasn't invincible, then there was a way to deal with Lin Yi. So I think that we should hurry up and refine that pill. Let Lin Yi eat it and die. Hee. Kong Ming Ming suggested. And after you come back, you will carry out this matter, Patriarch Xianqin said. Patriarch Xianqin hung up the phone and sighed slightly. Then he shouted to the door, Little waiter, come in for a while. Master, are you looking for me? After a while, Little waiter pushed the door and walked in. Your eldest senior brother, Little E, has fallen. Now, you are the eldest among our 5 Elements sect brothers. You have to shoulder this responsibility. Patriarch Xianqin sighed. When did this happen? Little waiter was shocked. Today. Patriarch Xianqin said, That's not right. The disciple who was in charge of cleaning the Soul Jade token room just reported to me. Everything was normal. Eldest senior brother's Soul Jade token didn't shatter. Little waiter said strangely, Master, is this news accurate? It was sent back by Kong Ming Ming. It can't be wrong. Patriarch Xianqin was also stunned. Get someone to bring Little Yi's Soul Jade token to me immediately. Yes, Little waiter didn't dare to delay. He quickly nodded and went to prepare. After a while, Little waiter quickly came to Patriarch Xianqin's room with Little Yi's Soul Jade token. However, his expression was a little strange. You brought it? Let me see. Patriarch Xianqin said eagerly, Master, first senior brother's Soul Jade tablet isn't shattered, but there's a crack on it. If you don't look closely, you won't be able to tell. I only noticed it when I took it. What does it mean? The waiter respectfully handed Little Yi's Soul Jade tablet to Patriarch Xianqin. Patriarch Xianqin took the Soul Jade tablet and was a little dumbfounded. This was a secret technique of the 5 Elements sect that had been passed down for thousands of years. However, if it was broken, then it was broken. If a person died, then the Soul Jade tablet would also shatter. There was no suspense about this. Patriarch Xianqin had never seen such a situation where the Soul Jade tablet was cracked but not broken. Did this mean that the person was dead or alive or not completely dead? What did that mean? Patriarch Black Earth was also a little confused. All right, you can leave first. I'll study it myself. Patriarch Xianqin frowned. After the waiter left, he called Kong Ming Ming again. Zhao Ming, where are you? Are you sure your eldest senior brother is dead? Where is his body? Patriarch Xianqin asked anxiously, I'm on the way back. I'm sure he's dead. I saw him being beaten to death with my own eyes. As for his body, it's in the trunk of my car. Kong Ming Ming said. Then stop the car immediately and check on Little Yi's situation. Is he still alive and can be saved? Patriarch Xianqin immediately ordered. Oh, okay, I'll go take a look now. Kong Ming Ming followed Patriarch Xianqin's instructions and parked the car. Then he got out of the car and opened the trunk. However, when he opened it, Kong Ming Ming was shocked. He almost sat on the ground. Dumbfounded, he stared at the trunk of the car, speechless. Zhao Ming, what's wrong with you? Did you see it? Patriarch Xianchen asked anxiously. Father-in-law, eldest senior brother's body is gone. Ming exclaimed in horror. What? Gone? What do you mean? You lost it? Patriarch Xianchen frowned. No, I saw the Paoli clan put the body in the car with my own eyes. I didn't stop the car along the way, and I didn't open the trunk door. But eldest senior brother's body just disappeared into thin air. Ming was scared out of his wits at the moment. He wasn't afraid of dead people, but he was afraid of supernatural things. Wasn't this too scary? How about this? Go back the way you came and see if you dropped it on the road. Patriarch Xianchen was also confused by Ming's words. This person's body could suddenly disappear? Okay. Although Ming was afraid, he had to bite the bullet and turn the car around. This matter was too mysterious. How could the body disappear just like that? And call me immediately after you find it. Patriarch Xianchen also felt that this matter was really unusual. Wasn't this too unexpected? Lin Yi filled the back of the Jeep with energy stones and left under the cheers of the Paoli clan. Deku, do you still want to go back to your old home? Lin Yi asked Deku, who was driving. No need. We've taken everything we need. Let's go back quickly. Mr. Lin, you have something important to do, right? Deku shook his head. Then let's go back directly. Lin Yi didn't hesitate. He really did want to go back as soon as possible and cure Xinyan's body. After some hesitation, Lin Yi took out the qi gathering pill from the Paoli clan and gave it to Xiaoka. Xiaoka, we'll find a place later. I'll raise your strength to Earth class late phase peak, and then you can use this pill to ascend to Sky class. Xiaoka froze at Lin Yi's action. I'll use the qi gathering pill? Ascend to Sky class? Even if you're a male thief, you don't have to be this nice to me. You need to raise your strength right now, so you should use it yourself. Earth class late phase peak is already very good for me. You don't have to be Sky class. Xiaoka, you misunderstand. I'm not being nice to you without limits. You can help me if you reach Sky class. This was the result of Lin Yi's careful consideration. Xiaoka, my attacks aren't weak anymore. Even if I can't kill someone at Sky class late phase peak, I can still hurt them. My defense is a lot weaker, though. If I'd been hit by Torto earlier, we'd all be dead by now. If you could provide me with defense, then we'd be in an invincible position. I'll have a lot of enemies in the future, so you can stay by my side and provide me with defense after you reach Sky class. I'm being a bit selfish. Chapter 3360. Xiaoka felt that Lin Yi's words made sense. If she had the ability, why wouldn't she help Lin Yi? Especially after knowing that Lin Yi was the male thief, Xiaoka had no reason to reject him. But Xiaoka was hesitant to stay by Lin Yi's side all the time. I want to stay with you, but I can't let go of the orphanage. The orphanage is on the right track, and there won't be any shortage of funds anymore. So, you have to let go when it's time. Let Ken and the others manage it. You can't stay with the orphanage forever. Lin Yi said, since you practiced your family's secret art, naturally, there would be more difficult challenges. That's right. The orphanage is on the right track. In the past, I could manage the small orphanage in an orderly manner, but now the orphanage has more and more ancillary welfare industries, and my ability is a little stretched. That's right. I didn't go to school, and I'm not as cultured as Ken and the others. They're learning business management now. Our orphanage may be a welfare organization, but we can't accept donations endlessly. We need to set up a foundation and make money ourselves. This is the future direction of the orphanage, and my sneaky ways are no longer suitable. Xiaoka laughed at herself. She suddenly felt that she couldn't help much with the construction of the orphanage anymore. Or her dream had come true and she had nothing to worry about now. You can't say that. You've contributed a lot. At least without you, the orphanage wouldn't exist. Without you, I wouldn't have invested in the orphanage. So I suggested to Fatty Lai that you guys set up a foundation to call it Xiaoka Foundation. Lin Yi smiled. Ah, I don't think that's a good idea. Xiaoka was shocked. Haha, it's decided then. I think it's good. Lin Yi waved his hand and changed the topic. He turned to Deku and said, Deku, stop the car. I'll help you Xiaoka increase her strength. Although Lin Yi didn't think that there would be any danger on the way back, it was better to be safe than sorry. Since Yu Xiaoka could reach Sky Class now, he'd help her reach Sky Class first. If they met any masters, Lin Yi would be able to deal with them easily. In the past, Xiaoka had imagined that the orphanage wouldn't need the money she stole anymore. She imagined that Ken and the kids would grow up. She imagined that she would meet her own family one day, and she imagined that she would be with the male thief one day. But he had never imagined that he could become a heaven-rank expert. How unreachable was that? If her master wasn't, how could she be? But now, she had really become a heaven-rank initial stage expert, and in just a few hours, she had completed such a magnificent transformation, although it was very painful to break through from Earth-class late-phase peak to Sky-class early phase. The moment she became a Sky-class expert, it was as easy as being reborn. Xiaoka was very happy. Happy that she could help Lin Yi in the future and become Lin Yi's helper. Happy that she was also a Sky-class expert and could maintain her youth forever. She didn't have to worry about aging before Lin Yi. Xiaoka, let's test it, Lin Yi said and turned to Deku. Deku, attack me with all your strength, and then I'll use Nuwa Sky Mending Art to defend. I'll see the effect. Ah, this is my first time using it. I may be a Sky-class early phase expert, but I've never used it before. What if it doesn't work? Wouldn't you be injured? Xiaoka was shocked. It's okay. With Deku's strength, it's not enough to hurt me. Lin Yi waved his hand. Deku, attack with all your strength. I'm ready. Okay. Deku knew Lin Yi's strength. During the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi was very strong. He was almost killed, but Lin Yi was fine. It was enough to show that Lin Yi wasn't bragging. He had real strength. Among them, Xiaoka was the most nervous. She didn't have any confidence in herself. She was like a beginner when it came to spiritual practicing. She couldn't guarantee that she would succeed. Mr. Lin, I'm coming. Udake took a deep breath and started channeling his practitioner's arts, activating the strongest move he could muster. Of course, this strongest move was very normal in Lin Yi's eyes. The techniques he'd come into contact with were all very strong, and his enemies were all strong people like Zhang Naipeo and Xiaoyi. No matter how strong Udake was, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Lin Yi. Plus, he was an Earth class, and his techniques weren't that strong. Boom dash, Deku's fists turned into palms, attacking Lin Yi's chest with all his strength. He didn't hesitate at all. This was also because he trusted Lin Yi. He knew that his moves wouldn't cause too much damage to Lin Yi. Xiaoka was channeling the Nuwa Sky Mending Arts chant, and seeing her brother's attack, she quickly channeled it with all her might. Her hands kept moving, drawing a beautiful afterimage in the air. It was as if she was weaving a huge net, and the energy was released from her hands all of a sudden. A big net made of pure energy instantly blocked in front of her, and Lin Yi. Deku's attack came at the same time. He attacked Lin Yi with his palms, but it hit the big net in front of him. There was a loud bang, but he suddenly stopped in front of the net. This big net was like a wall, blocking his attack. The big net shook twice, but it didn't break. Xiaoka was a Sky class now, and the art she channeled with all her strength wasn't something an Earth class could break. Deku didn't stop. He started channeling his arts again, but the result was the same. His palms hit the big net again, but it didn't hurt Lin Yi at all. Amazing. Lin Yi nodded, signaling Deku and Xiaoka to stop. Xiaoka, this arts of yours is as powerful as the legends say. In the future, when you're with Mr. Lin, You'll be invincible. One attack, one defense, you'll kill whoever you see. De Kush shouted in surprise. The Fishman's new book was published. It was called Ultimate Cultivation Young Master. Everyone, please collect it and recommend it. There was a direct train in the School Beauty's book. Chapter 3361. Instant kill, anyone I see? Doesn't that sound really strong? Xiaoka didn't think that she could help Lin Yi. Yeah, I thought of the legend of the martial arts world, the twin killers of King Kong. Right, Mr. Lin? You're pretty much the same as them now. Ha! Xiaoka, what's wrong? Udake was excited when he realized that Xiaoka's face was extremely pale. She was swaying as if she was about to fall on the ground. This made Udake jump in fright. Xiaoka only managed to say "Ides" before falling on the ground with a thud. Lin Yi was shocked as well. There was still Wang Xinyan who fainted at home. He hoped that Xiaoka didn't have some weird illness, or else she wouldn't have fainted. Lin Yi quickly put his hand on Xiaoka's wrist to check her pulse, checking her body's condition. After checking, Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. Xiaoka's body was fine. She just used up too much energy and fainted. Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery to replenish Xiaoka's energy. After a while, Xiaoka woke up. Xiaoka, how do you feel? Udake saw that Xiaoka woke up and sighed in relief. It's nothing. I just felt really tired and fainted. Xiaoka shook her head. Xiaoka's mantra. The higher the level of defense and the longer it takes, the more physical strength and true energy it consumes. Previously, I'm afraid Xiaoku used the mantra according to the highest level of defense she could display. Right? Lin Yi had a rough guess. Xiaoka's practitioner's arts weren't hard to understand. The higher the defense, the more energy Xiaoka had to expend. This was common sense, just like Lin Yi's Fire 8 trigram palms. Xiaoka fainted when she used up all her energy. Yes, I was afraid of hurting you. Xiaoka nodded. Lin Yi, you can still transfer energy to me? Doesn't that mean I can keep using my defense? Yes, Lin Yi nodded and said. However, in battle, we will have to face enemies at any time, so it will be difficult for us to have the time to replenish your physical strength and true energy. Unless it is a group battle. That's true. Xiaoka nodded. It seems like I still need to work hard. Work hard. Even if you work hard now, you won't be able to absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Your meridians have already accepted the pure energy from me and the qi gathering pill. They have already developed antibodies against this kind of thin spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he shook his head. If you want to improve further, you'll have to continue using qi amassing pills or wait for me to step into the heavenly way. It's just that the heavenly way is a realm of nothingness. I don't know when I'll be able to enter the heavenly way, and it's hard to say whether the realm of the heavenly way exists or not. Don't we still have energy stones? I can use energy stones to train myself. Xiaoka said optimistically. That's right. How could I forget about energy stones? Lin Yi took out 2 energy stones from the jade space. What surprised Lin Yi was that these 2 stones were fully charged. It had only been a few days, but they were already fully charged. It seemed like the jade space's charging speed was very fast. Perhaps it wouldn't even take a few days. Lin Yi didn't check it before. Dake, you're already in Earth-class late phase peak now. Without the Qi gathering pill, I can't help you increase your strength. These 2 energy stones, you and Xiaoka each take 1. Use it for your own training, and when you're done, come find me to exchange. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Dake took the energy stones gratefully. He didn't reject it because he understood Lin Yi. He could only remember this kindness in his heart. We're family, so let's not talk too much. Since I've made my relationship with Xiaoka clear, then you're also my big brother. Lin Yi smiled. I wouldn't dare to accept that. Mr. Lin is my savior. Dake shook his head. Haha, it's up to you. It's just a title. Lin Yi waved his hand nonchalantly. Dake, How about this? You and Xiaoka can stay in the villa when you get back. You'll be my helper. All right, Mr. Lin, I'll listen to your arrangements. Dake nodded. In his heart, Lin Yi's kindness to him was something that he couldn't repay in this lifetime. He had to repay this kindness. After the test, Lin Yi prepared to get in the car. But just as the three of them got in, they saw Kong Mingming's car coming back. Lin Yi frowned. What was this kid coming back for? Whoosh. Lin Yi appeared in front of Kong Mingming's car and stopped it. Oh my God! You scared me to death. Kong Mingming suddenly braked. Otherwise, he would almost hit Lin Yi. He wasn't afraid of killing Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would kill him. With Lin Yi's strength level, he could directly smash his car into a pile of scrap iron. He was also an alchemist. If his defense was not good, he might die. Boss Lin Yi, what are you doing? Don't you know that you almost killed me? If I die, who will refine pills for you? Why are you back? Lin Yi ignored Kong Mingming. With his reaction speed of Heaven Stage, it was easy to stop the car in an instant. If they really hit, it could only be said that Kong Mingming was unlucky, so he asked directly. Don't mention it. Little Yi's body is gone. I'll see if it fell somewhere. I'll go back and look for it. Kong Mingming said with a face full of bad luck. The body is gone. Lin Yi closed his eyes and used his perception to sense Kong Mingming's car. There wasn't Little Yi's body inside. Kong Mingming wasn't lying. Yeah, that's it. I'll go back and look for it. Kong Mingming naturally didn't want to tell Lin Yi the specific reason. This was an internal matter of their sect. There was no need to tell Lin Yi. Oh, go look for it then. Lin Yi nodded and got in the car. He didn't care about Kong Mingming. He could do whatever he wanted. Even if he went back to the bubbly family, they wouldn't betray him. On the way back, there were no accidents. Xiaoka's defense didn't need to be used, but what surprised Lin Yi was that he received a call from the hidden House Yu. The call was from Yu Xing, the old ancestor of House Yu. Elder Yu, hello. Lin Yi picked up the phone, confused. Actually, with Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need to respect Yu Xing at all. Plus, Yu Xing didn't have a good attitude towards him in the past, even looking for trouble. Chapter 3362. But in any case, Yu Xing was Yu Ning's grandfather. Lin Yi didn't want Yu Ning to be sad, so he maintained enough respect for Yu Xing, young hero Lin. Do you have time? Can you come to the hidden house, Yu? I have something to discuss with you. Yu Xing sighed in his heart. He didn't want to have anything to do with Lin Yi, but he couldn't avoid Lin Yi. Especially with Lin Yi's current strength, he almost stood at the peak of the training world. Even in the ancient level, there were only a few who dared to challenge Lin Yi. Even Yu Xing's backer was having an ambiguous attitude right now. Yu Xing had no choice but to face Lin Yi head-on. What he was about to do next was impossible to let Lin Yi go. If Lin Yi didn't agree, then everything would be for naught. Oh, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Yu Xing to invite him to discuss something, but Lin Yi was eager to return home. He wanted to give the energy stone to Wang Xinyan. So Lin Yi hesitated and said, "Is it something important? Is it urgent? If it's not urgent, then I'll visit you after a while. How about it?" "It's about Xiaoning," Yu Xing said. "Xiaoning." Lin Yi took a deep breath. He couldn't refuse Yu Xing's request. Although Wang Xinyan was unconscious, she wouldn't be in danger for a while. Who knew what would happen to Yu Ning? Yes, besides Xiaoning, there is another person who is related to you. She is Yu Shu. Yu Xing paused. "I believe you probably know something about the relationship between House Yu and her. Okay, I'll go immediately after I get home." Lin Yi's heart was faintly aware of something. But what did this have to do with Yu Ning? He felt that Yu Shu should be going to Fiery Mountain soon. House Yu's call should be about this matter. But Yu Ning, did she have anything to do with this matter? At this thought, Lin Yi told Yu Dake to drive faster because the car had entered the Earth-level East Ocean City, and they would arrive at the mansion in half an hour. Lin Yi's car stopped in front of the villa, and Yushu and Han Jingjing walked out together. Jingjing, you're here too? Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect Han Jingjing to be in the villa. And there's something I want to tell Big Brother Lin Yi. There's nothing going on in the company recently, so I'll wait for Big Brother Lin Yi here. Han Jingjing said. Oh, what's the matter? Lin Yi asked. On Kong Mingming's side, they've already released a second-level automatic cauldron imitation into the market. Because our product has been discontinued, Kong Mingming's side still has good sales. Han Jingjing said. Of course, this is only the beginning. There won't be continuous sales in the future because the number of second-level alchemists is limited. According to the statistics of the Cultivator Trade Association, there are only about 40 to 50 of them. We've already sold 30, which means that Kong Mingming can sell at most another 30 before the market is saturated. And this is under the situation where some sects buy 2 to stock up. And let's ignore him for now. Lin Yi knew that it would be impossible for Kong Xiaoming and Elder Xianqin not to come up with some countermeasure after dealing with them so ruthlessly. What are we going to do next? Han Jingjing asked. I've already got the energy stones, and we can launch a new first and second level automatic cauldron. Lin Yi said. However, the energy of the cauldron will be replaced by network replacement. Customers are not allowed to open the cauldron and take out the energy stones without permission. This requires an encryption measure. If customers open the cauldron and take out the energy stones without permission, they will lose all the subsequent warranty and maintenance rights of the cauldron. The purpose of Lin Yi doing this was actually to prevent the energy stones from being removed and used for other purposes, such as cultivation. In this way, as long as the energy stones were forcibly taken out, the warranty and maintenance rights of the cauldron would be lost. This could only be done once. It was impossible to charge the cauldron. If he wanted more energy stones, he could only continue to spend a high price to buy a new cauldron. Otherwise, it would be impossible to use energy stones without energy to maintain the cauldron. Of course, the official price of replacing the energy stones wouldn't be cheap. Although Lin Yi's jade space could be charged, Lin Yi wasn't doing charity. Using this method to earn money was also a kind of development of the jade space. I understand Lin Yi Bro's meaning. This energy stone can only be used to provide energy for the cauldron. It can't be used for cultivation. If it's discovered, we'll cancel the subsequent warranty and maintenance rights. Han Jingjing nodded and said, actually, this is also very easy to achieve. When the first and second grade automatic medicine cauldrons are refining pills, we can also use the server verification method. Each time, the server will record the remaining energy of the energy stone. If the energy stone doesn't match with the energy recorded previously, the first and second grade automatic medicine cauldrons will be stopped and their maintenance rights will be canceled. Okay, you can do as you see fit. Lin Yi nodded and suddenly took out a large amount of energy stones from the jade space in front of Yushu. Yu Dake and Xiaoka had seen his ability, but Yushu and Han Jingjing didn't know. Lin Yi didn't want to hide it from them. Seeing so many energy stones appear out of nowhere on the ground, Han Jingjing and Yushu jumped in shock. Shield bro, where did these energy stones come from? Holy shit, did you make them? Yushu's eyes widened as she looked at the energy stones on the ground. Han Jingjing was also very surprised and looked at Lin Yi strangely. I have a way of storing things. There's nothing special about it. Lin Yi said, Jingjing, these energy stones are all charged and the ones in my car aren't. You can take these charged ones and study them first. You can also sell them on the market. I have other things to do here, so I'll be out for a while. I'll be back in a few days. Lin Yi felt a little apologetic. After all, Han Jingjing had waited for him for a few days, and he left as soon as he came back. However, this involved Yuning and Yushu. Lin Yi didn't dare to delay. Shield bro, where you going? Yushu asked, "You haven't told Shu. What's so fun about the Hakanamata Desert?" Chapter 3363. In fact, Lin Yi could guess that it wasn't a good thing to look for him on a rainy day. And it was about Yushu. If that was the case, then Yushu wouldn't be far away. And when he came back, would Yushu be leaving already? Then he would still have time to tell her about his experience in the Hakanamata Desert. It wasn't something that could be explained in a few words, but Lin Yi couldn't tell Yushu about it. She was a girl with a lot on her mind. And Lin Yi wanted her to be happy during her last days at home. He didn't want the stress and worry about the future to affect her life. This might be Shu's last days in the villa. There were some things Lin Yi could stop, but there were some things Lin Yi couldn't stop. Meng Yao and the others were already on this path. And Yushu was on this path as well. It was the best choice they could make. "Xiaoke, Dake, come with me," Lin Yi said to them. "Okay, Mr. Lin." Dake didn't mind. Now that he had left the hidden house, he would go wherever Lin Yi wanted him to go. As for Xiaoke, after knowing that Lin Yi was the male thief, she wanted to be with Lin Yi all the time. After getting in the car, Lin Yi sighed helplessly. Dake could tell that Lin Yi wasn't in a good mood. "Mr. Lin, is there something bad about this trip to the hidden house, you?" "Maybe." Lin Yi didn't know for sure, but it was a type of intuition. It was very likely. When getting in the car, Lin Yi put all the energy stones in the back of the car into the jade space. The energy stones from before were enough for Han Jingjing to make the first and second level cauldrons and sell them. These energy stones could be used as replacements, and there was no need to give them to Han Jingjing in a hurry. When Lin Yi came back, he would give them to Han Jingjing. Yu Dake had been a disciple of the Hidden House Yu for a long time, and he was very familiar with the matters of the Hidden Plane. He knew the address of the Hidden House Yu, so Lin Yi didn't say anything, and Yu Dake quickly drove towards the Hidden House Yu. When they arrived at the Hidden House Yu's mountain gate, there were patrolling disciples who wanted to stop them, but when they saw Lin Yi sitting in the front passenger seat, they backed off immediately. Evidently, the disciples knew Lin Yi, and they had already received a hint from Yuxing. So only when Lin Yi drove into the Hidden House's villa did a disciple walk up to him. But what surprised Lin Yi was that it was Yu Yi, whom he had met once before. Yu Yi stood in front of Lin Yi's car and said respectfully, "Young hero Lin, please get out. The head of the house has been waiting for a long time." Lin Yi gestured for Dake to stop the car, and he got out. Towards Yu Yi, Lin Yi didn't know what he felt. Last time, Yu Yi did help him, perhaps because of Yushu, but at least he did help him. So Lin Yi was still very polite to Yu Yi. "Mr. Yu Yi, please arrange for my friend. I will go with you to see Elder Yu." "Don't worry, young hero Lin, I will arrange for your friend, and I will hold a feast for them later." Yu Yi smiled. Lin Yi nodded and said, "All right, then let's skip the formalities and go straight to Elder Yu. All right, young hero Lin, please follow me." Yu Yi nodded. This was the second time Lin Yi came to the Hidden House Yu. The first time, he was an uninvited guest, and the second time, he was invited. Both times, his attitude was different. The first time, he was afraid, and the second time, he was completely respectful. Yu Xing's residence was at the top of the mountain. Yu Yi walked in front, and Lin Yi followed behind. This was the first time Lin Yi came to this mountain. The last time Lin Yi came here, although House Yu was very respectful, they didn't let him come to such a secret place. The qi here is not bad, but it's not very abundant. Lin Yi followed behind Yu Yi effortlessly, making Yu Yi sigh inwardly. Things really weren't the same as before. Yu Yi had seen Lin Yi when he first came to Songshan, but at that time, Lin Yi was only a golden class master. Yu Yi didn't put him in his eyes at all. To him, Lin Yi was just a bodyguard hired by Pengzhan in the common world. He wasn't even at the level of a common noble house. How could the great steward of a hidden house, Yu Yi, care about Lin Yi? But now, Lin Yi's achievements had completely surpassed the Hidden House Yu. It could be said that there was no one in the Hidden House that could challenge Lin Yi. Even the hidden house's backer wouldn't be able to challenge Lin E. Ha! Young hero Lin is very knowledgeable, but in the hidden world, the hidden house used chi is already the most abundant. Of course, it can't compare to the ancient world, Yu Yi said with a smile, as if he had never wanted to kill Lin Yi. At Lin Yi's current level, he couldn't be bothered to lower himself to Yu Yi's level. After all, House Yu was Yuning's house, and Lin Yi didn't want to make things too awkward with them. In the beginning, he was the one who destroyed the common House Yu. It was hard to say who was right and who was wrong. I'm just a lone practitioner, Lin Yi smiled faintly. As they spoke, the two arrived at the peak of the back mountain, in front of a cave. Yu Yi brought Lin Yi and opened the mechanism in front of the cave. He didn't intend to hide it from Lin Yi. Of course, if Lin Yi wanted to force his way in, the mechanism couldn't stop Lin Yi at all. From Yu Yi's point of view, Lin Yi's strength was already at the pinnacle of the heavenly Tao. Some things were better to be open than defensive. Yu Yi, you're here? Elder Yu's voice came from inside the cave. Is young hero Lin here? Elder Yu, young hero Lin is here as well, Yu Yi said. As soon as Yu Yi's voice faded, footsteps came from the cave. Yu Yi walked out of the cave quickly and smiled at Lin Yi. Young hero Lin, you're here? You're giving me too much face. Elder Yu, you're Yu Ning's grandpa. It's hypocritical of you to say something like this. If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to pretend. You know my personality. Lin Yi shook his head and said directly, All right, young hero Lin, please come in. Yu Yi made a welcoming gesture and let Lin Yi into the cave. Chapter 3364. But this was Elder Yu's place, not a cave to hide things, so Lin Yi didn't think there was anything wrong with it. He didn't have the mood to care about these things either. He followed Elder Yu to a guest room, and Lin Yi sat on the sofa naturally. Yu Yi, go pour some tea, Yu Xing said to Yu Yi, and sat opposite Lin Yi. Master Lin, this time I asked you to come. I actually wanted to get your support. My support? What do you mean? Lin Yi paused, not understanding what Yu Xing meant. Before, I didn't agree to the relationship between you and Yu Ning. In fact, it wasn't because I hated you and Yu Ning. That's why I did it. I had my own difficulties. Yu Xing sighed. I won't hide it from you, Yu Ning is a water inheritor. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened, and he stood up from the sofa. Although he knew that Yu Xing was looking for him because of the inheritor, it was about Yu Shu, not Yu Ning. Yu Ning was an inheritor too, and a water inheritor at that. Master Lin, I didn't mean to hide it. It's just that the people behind the hidden house, you won't let me say it. Yu Xing had no choice. He couldn't offend the Five Elements sect, but he couldn't offend Lin Yi. Before, Yu Xing was counting on the Five Elements sect to help him deal with Lin Yi. But now that the Five Elements sect was keeping quiet, no one dared to touch Lin Yi. What could he do? Surviving in the cracks was the hardest, and he could only choose to compromise, not offend either side, and hope that Lin Yi would forgive him. It's the Five Elements sect, Elder Xianchen, Yu Xing said straightforwardly. The hidden house Yu, the leader of the hidden house, the leader of the hidden house, suppressing the alchemy house, the hidden house of the hidden house Yu, it's because of the Five Elements sect behind us. Without the support of the Five Elements sect, the hidden house Yu wouldn't have the strength we have today. Five Elements sect? Lin Yi was surprised. No wonder the hidden house, you couldn't suppress the hidden house Yu. With the support of the Sky Elixir School, they still weren't a match for the hidden house Yu. It seemed like the hidden house Yu's background was even more powerful. But I heard that it's because of the hidden house Yu, which is Elder Yu and your father, that they found an ancient ruin back then and obtained some kind of legacy. That's how the hidden house Yu came to be today. That was all made up by me. What ancient ruins? How can ancient ruins be so easy to find? Yu Xing smiled bitterly after hearing this and said, There are so many ancient families that haven't found an ancient relic. Can we find one? This is just a cover-up. So, because Five Elements sect and Yu Ning is the inheritor, you refuse to let me have a relationship with her? Lin Yi quickly thought of this. He was already the enemy of Five Elements sect. That's right, young hero Lin is wise. Yu Tianxing nodded and said, "You should know that the inheritor must be a virgin. I'm afraid that something might happen, so I can't allow you to be with Yu Ning. However, Five Elements sect doesn't allow me to disclose the news that Yu Ning is the inheritor. Last time, I could only reject young hero Lin. I hope young hero Lin doesn't mind. I know about this. I also understand your difficulties." Lin Yi nodded slightly and forgave Yu Yuxing for hiding the truth from him last time. After all, this kind of thing was very important to Rock Candy. Then, why are you telling me the truth now? Cough. Yu Yuxing coughed and blushed. Young hero Lin, I'm being bullied now. Although Five Elements sect has a lot of restrictions on me, I can't afford to offend young hero Lin. Now, Ancestor Xianchen doesn't dare to deal with you. If I hide anything from you, then when the time comes, our hidden house, you will be in trouble. Without anyone to support us, won't we be finished? Ancestor Xianchen is dealing with me. It's just that you don't know about it. A few days ago, he just sent little E to kill me. Lin Yi smiled and said, then what? Yu Yuxing was stunned. He didn't know about this. It turned out that it wasn't that Ancestor Xianchen didn't care about him, but he secretly made a move. Little E is dead. Lin Yi said, "Pfft." Yu Yuxing was stunned. Little E is dead? He subconsciously thought that Little E was killed by Lin Yi, because other than Lin Yi, who would do it? Thinking of this, he was even more excited about the wise decision he made. If he didn't please Lin Yi today and sent Yu Ning and Yu Shu away, then Lin Yi would definitely explode, right? At that time, even the hidden house, you wouldn't be enough for him to destroy. Let's get down to business. Lin Yi waved his hand and didn't want to dwell on this matter. Okay, Yu Yuxing nodded. As the inheritor, Xiao Ning must go to the endless West Sea to receive the water inheritance. It's already arranged. There will be a foreign tantric master who will give up all his strength to help Xiao Ning, forcefully increasing her strength to the peak of the late stage of heaven class. Tantric master? Is there any danger? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He didn't expect there to be such a secret technique that could help people level up, but thinking about it carefully, how different was this from the art of dragon mastery in the Jade Pendant space? It was just that after that person's strength was transferred, his strength would be gone, but he still had it. So thinking about it, it shouldn't be too dangerous. That's why Lin Yi wasn't too excited. There's no danger. If there is, it's the other party. Xiao Ning won't cause any problems. The Five Elements sect values Xiao Ning very much. They won't let anything happen to her. Yu Yuxing said. However, there's also a flaw. Because Xiao Ning received the purest energy to level up, the final result is the same as using the Qi gathering pill. She can no longer adapt to the outside world's spiritual energy to level up. If that's the case, Lin Yi thought about it and asked, will it affect her ascension to the heavenly Tao? Maybe, because it's unknown. No one knows the conditions to ascend to the heavenly Tao, but no one is willing to take this risk. Yu Yuxing said, if it's possible to cultivate on her own, she won't use the Qi gathering pill. Then why can't Xiao Ning cultivate on her own? Lin Yi thought about it and asked. Chapter 3365. What does that have to do with the blessing? Lin Yi didn't expect Yu Ning to be a prophet. Was she talented in this area? Lin Yi would believe it if Yushu was a prophet. After all, many of her prophecies had come true. Yes, prophet masters have their own innate talent. However, it's just a feeling. They can't specifically predict something. However, that tantric sect expert could activate the innate talent in Xiao Ning's body through enlightenment. This is something that can't be achieved through cultivation. Therefore, he could only choose enlightenment to increase his strength. Yu Yuxing said, "Of course, it doesn't mean that the strength from the blessing can't reach heavenly Tao. This is all unknown, so I hope that young hero Lin can agree to this request. Haha, this request isn't too much. I have no reason to reject it." Lin Yi shook his head. Yu Ning's situation was similar to the women and followers around Lin Yi. Lin would eventually find a way to solve this problem. Yu Ning alone was not enough. These were the side effects of Lin Yi's leveling up, so it had to be solved. I didn't expect young hero Lin to be so open-minded. I'm relieved. You agree to let Ning go to Endless West Sea? Yu Yuxing quickly asked. Yes, I agree. Lin Yi nodded, and his face turned serious. Next, are we going to talk about Shu? I heard that her parents were imprisoned by you guys, and you forced her to do something she didn't want to do, like assassinating me? I can let bygones be bygones, but can you let her parents go? Shu. Yu Yuxing sighed as he said this. His face looked lonely and guilty. Lin Yi frowned when he heard Yu Yuxing say Shu. Yu Yuxing, you don't want to let them go? Lin Yi called Elder Yu by his name. This showed how angry he was. Ever since he found out about Shu's tragic life, he sympathized with her. Lin Yi kept it in mind, waiting for the right opportunity to make things clear to House Yu. This invitation from House Yu was undoubtedly a good opportunity. From Lin Yi's perspective, Yu Yuxing wouldn't reject it with his current strength. He didn't expect Yu Yuxing to be so hesitant. This made Lin Yi furious. Before we talk about that, there's something I don't want to hide anymore. I've been hiding it for too long, and I've been under a lot of pressure. All these years, other than you, Yi, and Chun, no one else from House Yu knows about this, including Xiao Ning herself. Yu Yuxing's tone was heavy, but today I'll tell you everything. I hope that you'll understand my difficulties after you hear it. What do you mean? Release them or not? It's just a matter of a word. Lin Yi's face was cold. His sky-class mid-phase peak strength was suddenly revealed, and this was giving Yu Yuxing a lot of pressure. Although Lin Yi wouldn't make a move directly, he still needed to let Yu Yuxing know that Lin Yi wouldn't be angry just because Yu Ning was here. Young hero Lin, please listen to me first. Yu Yuxing sighed helplessly. Actually, I didn't even imprison Shu's parents. What? What about her parents? Could it be that you've already killed him? Lin Yi's killing intent flared up. Her parents are alive and well. Yu Yuxing smiled bitterly. Not only are her parents fine, but her grandpa is also alive and well. Huh? Lin Yi paused. Because her grandpa is me. Yu Yuxing let out a long breath, as if he was releasing all the depression he had been suppressing for years. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened as he looked at Yu Yuxing. You're saying that Shu is your granddaughter? That's right, her father is my son, Yu Xiaoqin, and Yu Ning is her twin sister. Yu Yuxing nodded and said solemnly, Yu Ning is Shu's sister? Lin Yi froze at this moment as he looked at Yu Yuxing, speechless fraternal twins. No wonder they didn't look that similar. Lin Yi had neglected this fact, but now that he thought about it, Ning and Shu did look similar in some ways. Yushu, her real name is actually Yushu. The Chun surname is just a cover. Yu Yuxing continued slowly. House Chun knows about this as well, but I warned Elder Chin of House Chun to keep it a secret. Yushu? Lin Yi understood. No wonder the Yu in Yushu's name was different from the Yu in Yuqian's name. Lin Yi thought that it was because they were male and female, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. As for the pronunciations, it was just a coincidence. Then, Shu's engagement, what's going on? Lin Yi continued to ask. It's a fabrication. The person she's engaged to is the young master of Sky Elixir, Sky Silkworm Transformation, but it's arranged by 5 Element School, and only Elder Chin knows about it. Yu Yuxing said the reason for this is probably because the inheritor can't lose her virginity. I don't want Yushu to fall in love too early, but what I don't understand is, since Shu is from House Yu, why did you put her in the common world? Why did you force her? Lin Yi asked, puzzled. Yu Yuxing's words made sense, but Lin Yi still felt that there was something wrong with it. Yu Ning's attribute is water, while Yu Shu's attribute is fire. The two inheritors of water and fire cannot be together before they receive the inheritance. If they meet frequently, the result will be that the water and fire cancel each other out, and the physique of the two will change. Yu Yuxing said, "You should know that water and fire are incompatible. We didn't tell Yushu the truth because we were afraid that she would meet with Yu Ning secretly. If they met each other, then all the arrangements would be for nothing." Water and fire are incompatible? The 5 elements are mutually restraining each other? Lin Yi frowned. If that's the case, then the inheritors of ice and fire will be together, right? Chapter 3366. Oh. Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect this. This is also the tragedy of 2 inheritors appearing at the same time. When she was young, Xiao Ning's body wasn't very good, and Xiao Shu's body was very strong. We could only choose to send her away. Speaking of which, she was also a child with a hard life. We didn't dare to tell her the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that we have no other choice, I'm afraid I will continue to hide this secret. I don't know how much Xiao Shu will hate us after she knows the truth. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. Xiao Shu is a sensible child. Don't be fooled by her crazy appearance. In fact, if she knew that the sacrifice she made was for her sister, she would definitely understand. I hope so. I hope that young hero Lin can help explain. Yu Yuxing nodded happily after listening. Another thing is that Yu Shu is also going to receive the inheritance. The place she is going to is the Fiery Mountain. I believe she should have told you about it. However, what she will face is the same as Xiao Ning. There will also be a tantric master who will help her. Why? Asked Lin Yi. Because Xiao Shu and Xiao Ning are both prophets. After they receive the inheritance, their minds will be connected. To put it bluntly, they can share each other's thoughts to achieve the purpose of accurate calculation. Yu Yuxing said, "What the fuck?" Lin Yi jumped in shock. Sharing thoughts like this was possible? What will the personalities of Yu Ning and Yu Shu become? Will they affect each other? Moreover, these 2 people have the same thoughts. What is the relationship between Lin Yi and them? Could it be that when he and one of them have sex, the other person can also sense each other's thoughts? Isn't this too much? Lin Yi was suddenly shocked, speechless. Ahem, this is actually something that can't be helped. Yu Yuxing coughed twice and said, "But fortunately they both like you. There won't be any major conflicts of opinion in the future. It shouldn't be a big problem." Lin Yi was speechless at Yu Yuxing's words. He didn't know how to answer, so he had to change the topic. "You called me just for these 2 things? Not bad, young hero Lin. Since you've agreed, you'll be the most honored guest of our hidden house, Yu. As for Shu, I hope you can help persuade her to come to Fiery Mountain with sincerity." Yu Yuxing said, "Let's not talk about guests anymore. Since I'm here, I'll meet Xiao Ning. Perhaps this will be the last time I see her before she leaves." Lin Yi sighed. "All right, I'll make the arrangements. No one will disturb you tonight. However, you should know the importance of a successor, so I won't interfere with your hugging and kissing. But remember, there must be a limit." Yu Yuxing said, "Sweat, you're thinking too much. Our relationship is very pure." Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That night, Yu Yuxing held a banquet in the biggest living room of the hidden house Yu to welcome Lin Yi's arrival. However, in the entire hidden house Yu, only Yu Yi and Yu Xiaochen knew what Yu Yuxing meant. Everyone else was confused. Weren't Yu Yuxing and Lin Yi not on good terms before? Why were they eating together all of a sudden? Yu Ning didn't know that Lin Yi would come today. As usual, she was studying the rules of the endless West Sea. Now, she knew what her mission was and what she was shouldering. She didn't know what the future held, but she had no other choice. She knew why House Yu had been glorious for the past few decades. She knew what it would mean if she refused. Of course, she couldn't refuse. She carried the hopes of everyone in House Yu. She finally knew why her grandfather was guarding against her, and Lin Yi. She also knew what her grandfather was worried about. These days, Yu Ning was depressed. She didn't know if she could see Lin Yi again before she left. She didn't know if she could survive and come back to see Lin Yi. Today, Yu Ning was informed that there was an important banquet in the house. The whole family had to attend. Of course, the so-called whole family was Yu Yuxing, Yu Yi, Yu Xiaochen, and Yu Ning. As for Yu Xiaozhong and Yu Shan, they'd been blacklisted by Yu Yuhang, never to be mentioned again. Yu Ning left her residence and came to the living room. However, when Yu Ning stepped into the living room, she took a glance and saw Lin Yi's figure. She suddenly opened her mouth slightly and looked at the person sitting in the guest seat in disbelief. Yu Ning looked at her grandfather in shock. She didn't understand. Of course, in the past, every time Yu Xing attended a banquet, he would always be the last to arrive because his identity and strength were the strongest. But today was different. Lin Yi was already seated, and he couldn't show any sense of superiority in front of Lin Yi. So, he accompanied Lin Yi to the banquet. As for Yu Ning, she was further away, so she was the last to arrive. However, no one dared to reprimand her. The reason was that Lin Yi was sitting here. If Lin Yi didn't speak, who dared to speak? Xiaoning, you're here. Sit next to me. Lin Yi smiled and waved at Yu Ning. There wasn't anyone sitting next to Lin Yi, but he made an exception and added a chair for Yu Ning. Of course, Lin Yi was the eldest here. Whatever he said was the law, and Yu Ning responded shyly. Seeing that her grandfather and father didn't object, Yu Yi also added a chair for himself. Yu Ning quickly sat next to Lin Yi, but her face was a bit strange. She didn't know why House Yu was doing this today. Young hero Lin, can you say a few words? Seeing that everyone was seated, Yu Yuxing said to Lin Yi. It was also a sign of respect to Lin Yi. I won't say anything. Elder Yu, you are the host. You can say it. Lin Yi waved his hand and refused. Okay then. Yu Yuxing nodded. Hero Lin, I'm sure you're all familiar with him, right? He's one of the strongest practitioners in the world of practitioners, the savior of our hidden House Yu. He was the one who saved Ning when she was kidnapped, and when she went overseas to train, he was the one who protected her as well. The two of them were fated to be together from a long time ago. Chapter 3367. Yu Ning's mother was a beautiful woman. What surprised Lin Yi was that Yu Ning looked very similar to Yushu. It seemed like Yu Xing wasn't lying to him. Yu Ning, on the other hand, didn't look like her mother at all. If he looked closely, he could see the shadow of Yu Xiaochen and Yu Xiaojin. Of course, Yu Xiaochen was handsome when he was young. If Yu Xiaojin didn't marry the wrong person, she would be here now. Grandpa? Yu Ning was a little embarrassed. Lin Yi didn't hide anything. Since Yu Xing had invited him here, it meant that he was officially accepted. So Lin Yi held Yu Ning's hand. This feeling made Lin Yi's heart beat faster. It was as if he had returned to that year, that Valentine's Day night, the bonfire, the cave, the beasts outside, a beautiful girl sitting next to the bonfire, telling her heart to him. Everything came to Lin Yi's mind, as if it was a lifetime ago. This time, holding hands, he would never let go again. He would never let go of what he had missed before. Ning, accept the inheritance with peace of mind. For you, for Shu Yao Yao and Xiao Xiao, I will participate in that plan. No one can stop me, Lin Yi said solemnly. Yushu, Meng Yao, and Xiao Xiao's names, Yu Ning had heard Yu Bing mention them before. She knew that they were Lin Yi's confidants, so she wasn't jealous. She was just touched by Lin Yi's responsibility. Of course, the reason why Yu Ning didn't reject her becoming an inheritor was because of these people. Lin Yi couldn't give up on them. At the same time, Lin Yi wouldn't give up on her. But because of Haosu, he had never made a solemn promise. Today, Lin Yi made a promise, and Yu Ning was relieved. This time, no matter how many obstacles and thorns there were, she would face them with a smile. Night. In a cave in the mountain behind Haosu, Lin Yi brought Yu Ning and lit a bonfire here. The back mountain was the hidden Haosu's forbidden grounds. Everyone from Haosu, including Yu Yi and Yu Shaochen, didn't dare stay there for no reason. Yu Xing, however, ignored Lin Yi and Yu Ning's actions this night. Yu Ning and Lin Yi quietly sat side by side at the entrance of the cave, looking at the burning bonfire in front of them. Although there were no beasts here, there was no worry of war, but the memories of the two people seemed to have returned to the past. Yu Ning leaned her head on Lin Yi's shoulder. The two of them snuggled together, and the thousands of words in their hearts were hidden in this long night. Lin Yi and Yu Ning were communicating with each other. It seemed that they both knew what to say. Without saying anything, they could feel each other's deep concern. The next morning, Lin Yi said goodbye to Yu Ning and Yu Yuxing. He brought Xiaoke and Yu Dake out of the hidden Haosu. Yu Ning, it was time to go. Lin Yi had to return home as soon as possible and talk to Shu, because after Yu Ning, it would be her. Kong Mingming, in the end, didn't find Little Yi's body. He drove back to Five Elements Sect alone, and the first thing he did was to meet the Xianqian ancestor. Xiaoming, you are back. Did you find Little Yi's body? The Xianqian ancestor looked at Kong Mingming and asked. No. Kong Mingming shook his head. He also felt that this matter was quite scary. Such a big living body. It just disappeared like that. Wasn't it a bit unrealistic? But so, what if it wasn't realistic? Then what happened? The Xianqian ancestor frowned. Little Yi's soul jade tablet was cracked, but it didn't break. What did this mean? Could it be that there were some uncertain factors in this? Father-in-law, I don't know either. Kong Mingming smiled bitterly. In short, things are too strange. If you didn't call me, I wouldn't have known that senior brother's body had been lost. Forget it. Let's not talk about this matter for now. Maybe something unexpected happened. Although the Xianqian ancestor's scalp was a little numb, he was a top cultivator after all, so he could control his emotions very well. He looked at Kong Mingming and said, Previously, you told me that Lin Yi didn't have the strength to kill a peak late-stage, heaven-stage, great perfection master. It should be like this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked the Bubbly clan to take action. And oh, such a big favor. Kong Mingming nodded. In that case, this is a chance to kill Lin Yi. The Xianqian ancestor clicked his tongue, pondered for a moment, and said, Now, we can't do anything to Lin Yi. Boss Bai is watching over there, and we're about to reach the critical moment of the Heavenly Island plan. I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. This time, we're relying on the Bubbly clan, and we've also suffered a loss. Boss Bai might not blame us, but if we directly make a move, I can't guarantee that he won't do something desperate. But if we let Lin Yi develop like this, then whether our Heavenly Island plan can be carried out is another matter. Kong Mingming followed the Xianqian ancestor, and more or less understood some things about the Heavenly Island plan. Most of those inheritors are Lin Yi's women. When the time comes, if he objects, our efforts will be in vain. That's true. The Xianqian ancestor closed his eyes. After a moment, he opened them again, and a bright light shot out. He said, It seems that the heavenly trial is the only chance to kill Lin Yi. Father-in-law, our Five Elements sect is going to hold a trial? After hearing this, Kong Mingming was slightly surprised and quickly asked, That's right, our Five Elements sect hasn't held a trial for a long time. Taking advantage of the Heavenly Island plan, we'll hold a trial and kill Lin Yi here. The Xianqian ancestor nodded and said, The deaths and injuries in the trial can't be investigated. Even if Boss Bai is unwilling, there's nothing we can do. But this time, who are we going to send to kill Lin Yi? Kong Mingming asked, I'm going to let Little Fool and the Heavenly Silkworm transformation team up to kill Lin Yi. I don't believe that two experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven's stage can't beat Lin Yi. The Xianqian ancestor sneered and said, Zhao Ming, go and cultivate. You'll also participate in the heavenly trial this time. Go and experience it, but you must be careful. Chapter 3368. Don't worry, I have already talked to Dr. Benjamin too. His and Miss Land's experiment is over. This time, he will send the Zhao family's experts to be your bodyguards. Each of these Zhao family's experts has the strength of peak late-stage great perfection. You don't have to worry about your safety, said Ancestor Xianqian. No way? So powerful? Kong Mingming was overjoyed after hearing it. 3 top experts. However, he was a little confused. Since these people are so powerful, why don't you let them kill Lin Yi? Isn't that easier? The 3 of them have just achieved divine power, and they don't have much experience. They haven't adapted to the identity of peak late stage great perfection. I'm afraid they will suffer a loss if we let them kill Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi is more cunning and has some trump cards, so it's better to let Little Fool and Heavenly Silkworm Transformation, who have more combat experience, take action, Ancestor Xianqian said. In addition, these people from the Zhao family, although they have hatred for Lin Yi in the end, they are on Miss Lan's side. Miss Lan didn't mention this matter, so we can't make a decision on our own. If that's the case, then I can have a good time. Kong Mingming nodded happily after listening. Little Yi, let's investigate this matter a little more. A living person like that is gone just like that. Are you sure it's not Lin Yi's doing? Ancestor Xianqian was still worried about Little Yi. It shouldn't be. I left first and Lin Yi left later. When I left, there was a corpse in the car. Besides, what's the use of a dead person for Lin Yi? Kong Mingming shook his head. That's true, but if I don't find Little Yi's body, I won't feel at ease. Is there someone else standing in the dark? I don't believe in the existence of any supernatural things, said Ancestor Xianqian. Then I'll investigate again. Although Kong Mingming said so, he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, people were dead, so who cared where their bodies went? Okay, but be careful. Patriarch Xuanqian's words warmed Kong Mingming's heart. It seemed like Patriarch Xianqian still cared about him. Lin Yi left the hidden house with Udake and used Xiaoka, returning to Donghai City. On the way, Lin Yi didn't seem to be in a good mood. He kept his eyes closed, deep in thought. Udake could tell that Lin Yi wasn't in a good mood, so he didn't dare to say anything. Xiaoka, on the other hand, was a little depressed. Obviously, Lin Yi and Yu Ning from the hidden house had something going on. She could tell from the look in her eyes when she sent him off. Although Xiaoka didn't say it, she wasn't too happy that another girl popped out. But it was only for a while. Xiaoka knew where she stood, and she was glad that the male thief only liked her. That was enough. As for Lin Yi, Xiaoka's love was for the gentle male thief in the tomb. I'm going to train for a bit. Call me if you need anything. Lin Yi finally said. There were too many things going on recently, and Lin Yi didn't have the time to train. He wasted a lot of time, and now the inheritor's plan wasn't far away. Lin Yi had to raise his strength to the next level as soon as possible. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to handle the unknown dangers in the future. Yu Ning, Yu Shu, Meng Yao, Xiao Xiao, Little Nine, these people all needed Lin Yi's protection. Lin Yi had to have the strength to look down on everyone else. Only then would he have the absolute right to speak in the plan. After entering the Jade Space, Lin Yi was about to sit down and train, but suddenly Lin Yi saw a corner of the Jade Space. He was shocked and almost screamed. Luckily, it was in the Jade Space. Otherwise, wouldn't Xiaoka and Udake be shocked? Fuck, Jiao Lao, what are you doing? What is this? Lin Yi pointed at the corner of the Jade Space. Isn't that Little Yi's body? How did you get into my space? Lin Yi wasn't afraid of dead people, but An enemy's body appearing in the jade space out of nowhere made Lin a little uneasy. "It's not me. It's that guy," Jiao Yazi said as he pointed at the ghost in the corner. "Ghost Senior, you're awake?" Linny paused and asked. "Yes, he's awake. This corpse is pretty good. It's a peak late heaven rank expert at the Great Perfection realm, a bit stronger than an ordinary Great Perfection expert. I'll temporarily refine him into my puppet avatar to play with. I've recently recovered a lot of my spirit power here. The spiritual energy here is really abundant." "Huh!" The ghost suddenly laughed. "Speaking of which, I have to thank you for giving me such a good toy. Puppet doppelganger." Linny paused. He didn't understand what the ghost meant. "You brought this body in? How can you control the jade space?" "Haha. In the space of the jade pendant, I'm actually half the owner of the space. If you can bring things in, then I can too. You can ask Elder Jiao, he can do it too." The ghost laughed. "Of course, this is all thanks to the jade space you made. If you didn't make it, I wouldn't be able to bring the body in." "I see." Lin shuddered. Luckily, he wasn't afraid of these things. Otherwise, he'd be scared to death. "Then did you make it? What's the purpose of refining this so-called puppet clone?" "Actually, it's not that useful. I just want to send a strand of my primordial spirit into this corpse and turn it into my puppet doppelganger. It can move freely in the outside world. Of course, it's still a little weak for me. I'll just take it as I'm bored and go out to play." The ghost said, "It's equivalent to another me. It can be controlled by the me in the jade space." "Oh, in other words, it's equivalent to a sky-class late phase master outside the jade space. Moreover, it's controlled by you?" Lin, he was pleasantly surprised. Isn't this equivalent to having an extra fighter? However, after the excitement, Lin calmed down. Although this was a powerful fighter, would this ghost be willing to work for him? He'd asked it for help several times before, but it was cold and indifferent. This time, it should be even more unwilling to let its clone be a fighter. Chapter 3369. Then, "Senior, can you send this puppet avatar to help me?" Lin pondered for a moment and asked, "For example, when I'm in danger?" "Well, yes." The ghost didn't hesitate this time. It directly agreed without much thought, which made Lin very surprised. He thought that he had heard it wrong. "Senior Ghost, did you just say yes?" Lin asked with a little bit of disbelief. "Yes." The ghost laughed and said, "Don't be surprised. In fact, my puppet avatar still needs your help to enter and exit the space of the jade pendant. Although I can also control it, it will consume a lot of my spirit power. I don't want to use my spirit power in this place. When the time comes, I will need your help." "Oh, however, if I were to help, wouldn't that mean that this puppet clone would enter another space? The one that I refined?" Linny pointed to the space where he stored things. "That won't happen. This puppet avatar has a mind and retains my thoughts. It will automatically choose the space that it needs, and it won't enter the space next to it." The ghost explained. "I see." Lin suddenly understood. "Then is this thing alive or dead? How can it enter the space, but other living things can't?" "Other things can, but there's no air inside, so it can't be breathed." The ghost said until here, but was suddenly interrupted by Jiao Yazi. "Ahem." Jiao Yazi coughed twice. "Ha! I won't say it. Jiao Yazi won't let me say it." The ghost quickly stopped talking. Obviously, when Lin wasn't in the space, the two of them had communicated, which made Lin very unhappy. Obviously, it was hidden from him. This puppet avatar isn't a living person. Of course, it can't be said to be a dead person. It can only be called a living dead. It doesn't need to breathe. It only needs to absorb the aura of heaven and earth to replenish its physical strength, and its thoughts are controlled by the old ghost. Jiao Yazi explained. As for other living people, they can't come in for the time being. Okay, Linny heard Zhao Yazi's words. So, could he come in the future? However, Lin Yi didn't want to ask anymore. If he asked, it would be useless because his memory hadn't recovered. Moreover, Lin Yi had a puppet avatar with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage to help him. It was already a very good thing. It seemed that this trip was very rewarding. If there are more corpses of masters with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage, can you continue to refine the puppet avatar? Lin Yi asked. I can, but it consumes a lot of my spirit power. It's not interesting. Moreover, I see that this master with the strength of the late peak of Heaven stage is stronger than the others, so I got it for fun. The others are too weak. I'm not interested. The ghost said, You are quite suitable. Why don't I refine you? Then forget it. Although Linny knew that the ghost was joking, he still shuddered. If it wanted to make a move on him, it would have done it a long time ago. It was obviously to scare him. I will continue to sleep. My puppet avatar is always awake. If there's anything, you can find him. After the ghost finished speaking, it didn't move at all. Senior Ghost, are you dormant? Linny tried to ask. Yes, the puppet avatar suddenly spoke, and it gave Lin Yi a fright. The voice was exactly the same as little E. Ugh. Okay, you go on with your work. Lin Yi felt weird. The addition of little E in the jade space really made him feel uncomfortable. No wonder Kong Mingming was looking for corpses everywhere. It turned out that the corpse was brought by the ghost. Lin Yi sat cross-legged and began to practice. The car sped on the road. When they reached Donghai City, it was already midnight. However, the sound of the car still woke Yushu up. Han Jingjing had already returned to her villa to do experiments. This girl was so busy that she couldn't hear the outside world at all. Shilbro, you're back? Yushu looked a little haggard. Lin Yi felt a slight pain in his heart. Perhaps she already knew from Yui that she was going to Fiery Mountain. Shu, let's go in and talk. Linny reached out and rubbed her forehead. You didn't rest before? Yeah, I have something to tell you. Yui called me before. Shu was a little down. I know. I went to the hidden house Yu Xing, an elder you already told me everything. Lin Yi said, it's about going to Fiery Mountain, right? Yeah. I'm leaving in a few days. Yushu sighed. Yushu sighed softly. I knew this day would come, but I didn't think it'd come so soon. Yao Yao's gone. I'm gone. And Xian Yan's fainted. I'm really worried about the family. Linny, bro, don't look at me like I'm an idiot. Yeah, I know, but don't worry after you go. I'll go find you guys in no time. I'll be a part of that plan, and I won't let anyone hurt you guys. Absolutely not. Linny nodded solemnly. Yeah, Shu believes that Shield Bro will be very powerful. Don't forget that I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu smiled and clenched her fist. Prophet Shu. Lin Yi suddenly remembered Yu Xing's words. No wonder Shu's words had come true so many times. Before, Lin Yi thought that it was a coincidence, but now that he thought about it, it wasn't. This was Shu's innate talent. But now that she said it, it made Lin Yi more confident in facing the future plan. If Shu really predicted that the future wouldn't be smooth, she would probably stop it at all costs, right? Or maybe she didn't predict anything, and her words were just to comfort Lin Yi. But no matter what, Lin Yi was full of courage and confidence now. In the living room of the villa, Yu Dake and Yu Xiaoka sat on the sofa. Lin Yi didn't want to hide anything from them. Ever since Lin Yi knew about Yu Xiaoka's ability, he planned to train her to be his best assistant in battle. Yu Xiaoka's ability could save lives in critical moments, especially when Lin Yi used his ultimate skill. He used up all his energy. As long as Yu Xiaoka could hold on for a while, Lin Yi would have the chance to recover. Chapter 3370. It's nothing, right? Did Yui tell you about your parents? Lin, he felt that he had to tell Shu about this. With Shu's mature personality, she wouldn't do anything irrational. Oh, no, Shield Bro, are you going to the hidden house to help me find my parents? Yushu asked quickly. Part of it. You've heard of Yuning, right? Lin, he nodded. Yeah, isn't she Shield Bro's first love? Yushu had heard about Yuning before, so she wasn't too surprised. Her other identity is the inheritor of the water element. Linny said, Ah, she's also an inheritor? Holy shit, all the inheritors are Shield Bro's wives? Yushu's eyes widened in shock. Pfft, isn't there a mist? And would element 2? Lin, he felt that this was quite a coincidence. All the inheritors were related to him in some way. But was it really a coincidence? Lin Dongfang and Mo Conwen might just smile and not say anything. Was it planned? Or? Mist element. Yushu opened her mouth but didn't say anything. I think so too. Ahem. Okay, it can't be Yu Xiaoke and Wang Xingyan, right? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I don't know. Yushu shook her head. So House Yu's miss is also an inheritor. Her most important identity isn't an inheritor, but your sister. Lin Yi suddenly said. Oh, Yushu blinked. My sister? What do you mean? She clearly didn't understand what Lin Yi was talking about. It was too sudden, and it was hard for her to understand. Yuning is your sister. Lin Yi said seriously, your real name is Yushu, and you're from the hidden house Ah, Yuning is my sister? Then my parents... At this moment, Shu, who was always calm and had a mischievous look on her face, was a little flustered. This news was too shocking. It overturned everything she knew in the past 10 years. Although Shu knew that she wasn't from House Qin, she always thought that House Yu kidnapped her parents and forced her to do something. But now, Lin Yi said that she was from House Yu? How was this possible? Your parents are Yu Xiaoqin and his wife. Your grandfather is Yu Xing. You and Yuning are twin sisters. She's the older sister, and you're the younger sister. It's that simple. Lin Yi said, how is this possible? Then why did you treat me like that? Brother Lin Yi, are you lying to Shu? Is it because Shu's parents are dead, and you're trying to comfort her? Yushu didn't believe Lin Yi's words. When have I ever lied to you? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Actually, it's like this. With that, Lin Yi told Yushu everything Yu Xing said in detail. Yushu wasn't stupid. In fact, she was very smart. She fell into silence after hearing Lin Yi's words, but it was obvious that she believed the truth. She was indeed from the hidden house Yu, and she was Yu Xing's granddaughter. So, actually, House Yu had no choice. They were afraid that I would go home to see my parents and sister, so they lied to me? Yushu sighed softly. Yes, although they lied to you, there's a reason behind it. Of course, I'm not trying to excuse them. I just think that since they are your family and you've been looking forward to it for so long, there's no need to make things unpleasant. Lin Yi explained. No, actually, they think that I'm crazy and would do anything. It's not like that. Shield Bro, you know Shu the best, don't you? If I knew the truth, I would never go to my sister. Yushu shook her head and murmured, I know, but your disguise has successfully fooled many people, including Yao Yao. So, there's a reason why House Yu lied to you, Lin Yi said. But you don't hate your sister, do you? If you gave her away, you would be the princess of House Yu. No, I think I'm very lucky. If I stayed in the hidden house Yu, how sad would that be? I wouldn't be able to meet Yao Yao, and I wouldn't be able to meet Shield Bro. Yushu said happily and confidently. Lin Yi sighed in relief. Didn't Ning meet me too? Even if she did, it wouldn't be as easy as Shu meeting Shield Bro. Her family doesn't even allow her to meet him. But Shu can live with Shield Bro, hee. I'm afraid that my sister would be jealous of me. Yushu smiled. Lin Yi didn't know if Shu was telling the truth or not. She was too good at hiding her true feelings and thoughts. But no matter what, Shu's attitude made Lin Yi sigh in relief. But although she is my sister, I still support Yao Yao Sis as the main wife. This won't change. Shu's position is very firm. Shu said suddenly. Buff. Ahem, Shu, I'm talking about something serious. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Shu is talking about something serious. Shu said matter-of-factly. Huh? So, you're saying that you can let go of the knot in your heart and go to Fiery Mountain? Before you leave, I'll go with you to the hidden house, Lin Yi asked. I'm not going. Actually, my parents are just something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now that I know about it, I don't really want to see them anymore. Thinking about it, the closest people to me are actually Yao Yao Sis and Shield Bro, as well as House Chen's parents, grandpa, and brother. I don't have any sense of belonging in the hidden house, My Yuning sis. I can accept her because of Shield Bro, but I suddenly don't want to see anyone else. Shu shook her head lightly. All right, I'll listen to you. Lin Yi suddenly felt a little sad. Shu always thought that her parents were forced by House Yu. Now that she knew that wasn't the case, her persistence was shattered. Naturally, she didn't feel much about the hidden house anymore. Shu's a little sleepy. I'm going to sleep. Shield Bro, see you tomorrow. Shu stood up slowly. For the first time, she didn't ask Lin Yi about the adventure in Hakanamada Desert. Lin Yi knew that Shu must have suffered quite a big blow today. He didn't say anything else. Yeah, good night. Sweet dreams. Chapter 3371. Xiaoke and Dake actually sympathized with Shu. She was a pitiful girl, especially since Shu had helped the orphanage before. Xiaoke didn't hate her at all. Xiaoke had started to accept the people around Lin Yi. She liked the identity of a male thief, but in reality, Lin Yi was Lin Yi. Male thief, my brother and I are sleepy. Are there any empty rooms here? Xiaoke didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi was going to see Xinyan, so she didn't want to disturb him. Okay, I'll find 2 rooms for you. Lin Yi nodded and stood up, arranging rooms for Xiaoke and Dake. After everything was arranged, Lin Yi walked to his room. Xinyan was arranged to stay here. And now that Lin Yi had the energy stones, naturally, he had to save Xinyan first. Opening the door, Lin Yi saw Xinyan lying on his bed with a pale face. Compared to when Lin Yi left, she seemed even more haggard. Of course, it could be Lin Yi's imagination. Lin Yi took out 2 energy stones from the jade space. They had been fully charged for the past few days, but Lin Yi wasn't sure if they could wake Xinyan up. Lin Yi didn't know if the unconscious Xinyan could absorb the energy from the stones on her own. No matter what, Lin Yi put the stones next to Xinyan's pillow and observed it silently. He wanted to see if the color of the stones would dim. That would prove that Xinyan had absorbed the energy from the stones. In actuality, Lin Yi was wondering if Xinyan could absorb the energy from his body. But it didn't seem to work. Wang Xinyan didn't have the incantation, and the energy in her body wasn't pure spiritual qi. She couldn't convert it into the energy that Wang Xinyan needed. She was different from spirit beasts. However, after observing for a while, Lin Yi did not find any obvious changes in the energy stone, so he took out his phone and prepared to find Ani Qing to ask. After all, Ani Qing should know more. Aunt Qing? Lin Yi dialed Aunt Qing's number. Aunt Qing's position in the Ice Palace allowed her to have her own satellite phone. Little Yi, how is it? How's the physical condition of the friend you mentioned? Aunt Qing's caring voice sounded on the other side of the phone, warming Lin Yi's heart. Aunt Qing, I found the energy stone, but when I placed it by her pillow, she still hasn't woken up. Moreover, I don't see much change in the energy stone. She doesn't seem to be absorbing it. Lin Yi asked anxiously. It's impossible that she doesn't absorb it. She's relying on her body to naturally absorb the spiritual qi around her, but the speed and flow are relatively slow. You can't see it with the naked eye. Aunt Ching explained, let alone her. Even practitioners who use the energy stone to cultivate won't be able to see any changes in the energy stone within a few days. There's nothing strange about it. So that's how it is. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief and asked, then when will she wake up? That's hard to say. It depends on the abundance of the spiritual qi around her, the amount of energy contained in the energy stone, and the surface area of the energy stone, Aunt Ching said. Surface area? Lin Yi paused and said, the size of the energy stone also matters. That's right. The bigger the energy stone, the more energy can be absorbed in the same amount of time. Of course, this is also related to the amount of energy contained in the energy stone itself, Aunt Ching explained. Then, what if there are more energy stones? If a lot of energy stones are placed around her, will it help her wake up faster? Lin Yi listened to Aunt Ching's explanation and was immediately delighted. That's natural, but energy stones are relatively rare. Very few people will do this. Aunt Ching said, right, little Yi, did you get a lot of energy stones? Yes, I brought back a car full of energy stones from the Bubbly clan. The trunk is full. Lin Yi didn't hide it, but he didn't mention the status of the energy stones either. That many? Aunt Ching was a little surprised. If that's the case, if you have spare time, I suggest you give a few to Xiao Xiao. She doesn't have a level barrier. If there are energy stones in hand, it can help her quickly reach the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. That works? Lin Yi didn't expect energy stones to have this kind of use. Yes, it's just that there aren't many energy stones left in the training world. The only ones are concentrated in the 5-element sect, but although the 5-element sect is... At this point, Aunt Ching suddenly stopped. She didn't know how much Lin Yi knew, so she didn't want Lin Yi to get involved in order to avoid trouble. What about the 5-element sect? Lin Yi asked, the inheritor plan should be led by the 5-element sect, right? Won't they give the energy stones to the inheritors? If there are leftovers, they might, but right now they're focusing on improving the strength of a practitioner called medium, so they'll definitely put him first, Aunt Ching said. As for Xiao Xiao, the relationship between the Ice Palace and the 5-element sect is very subtle. I don't know if we can get it in the end. Of course, if it's a small amount, 1 or 2 won't be very useful. Then, how many energy stones does Xiao Xiao need to improve his strength to the peak of the late stage of Heaven class? Lin Yi asked. About 20 energy stones the size of a fist, Aunt Ching said. From the yellow class to the earth class, 1 energy stone is enough, but from the earth class to the peak of the late stage of Heaven class, it'll need about 20. The higher the level, the more heaven and earth energy is needed. You can understand the reason behind this, right? I know this. 20? Okay, no problem. I'll have someone send you 30. Lin Yi had a lot of energy stones in his hands. 30 really wasn't much. What? 30? You can't use that much. Aunt Ching was shocked. Little E, if you give all of these to me, what about your friends? It's okay, I still have more. Lin Yi said. Right, but please don't throw away the energy stones that have been used. I still have use for them. Chapter 3372. More updates, asking for recommendation votes. Mobile readers, please cast a few monthly votes. That's good. I'll get someone to send it over right away. Lin Yi wasn't expecting such a pleasant surprise. Lin Yi could still go to the Hakanamada Desert and ask for energy stones from the Bubbles clan, but the Bubbles clan was just too far from here. He had the purple lightning beast, but Lin Yi couldn't bring too many back this time. The Ice Palace being able to trade for some made up for the lack of numbers. You can give the rest of the stones to the Ice Palace as a reward. Tell me when you're done with it, don't worry about it. The Ice Palace is Xiao Xiao's home now, and with your relationship with Aunt Ching, I'll be fine with it. Oh, that's great. Aunt Ching was overjoyed. With the rest of the stones as rewards for the Ice Palace disciples, It would be able to motivate them to train and raise a batch of Sky class. One had to know that going from Earth late phase peak to Sky class didn't require that many stones. One was enough, and these 10 extra stones could raise 10 Sky class masters. The Ice Palace's strength would increase as well. Thank you so much, Aunt Ching said gratefully. It's nothing. I have to thank you, Aunt Ching. Lin Yi shook his head. Aunt Ching, about that practitioner's art, please help me look for it. All right, I understand, Aunt Ching replied. After hanging up, Lin Yi took out all the energy stones from the jade space and placed them around Xinyan. There were over 1,000 of them, and they surrounded Xinyan in an instant. It was as if Xinyan was sleeping in a pit made out of stones. Interesting. After that, Lin Yi called Chiquan. Chiquan, come over for a bit. Lin Yi didn't explain too much, and Chiquan quickly appeared in Lin Yi's villa. Boss, I'm here. You're back? What do you need me to do? Chiquan was the type who was always on standby. Ride the purple thunderbolt beast to the Ice Palace and give Xiao Xiao 30 energy stones. Also, bring back all the energy stones from the Ice Palace. Lin Yi told Chiquan, go next door and ask Han Jingjing for the energy stones. She has a lot. Lin Yi didn't touch Wang Xinyan's. Instead, he asked him to take Han Jingjing's so that he could give more to Wang Xinyan. No problem, I'll go now. Chiquan had been to the Ice Palace before and knew Xiao Xiao. Yes, let's go now. Come back quickly, Lin Yi said. All right, I'll go now. Chiquan didn't waste any time and left. Lin Yi, on the other hand, returned to Wang Xinyan's room, only to find that Wang Xinyan's eyes were open. She was looking at the energy stones around her with a confused and curious expression. Where am I? Am I dead? Is this my coffin? Xinyan looked at the energy stones around her, thinking that it was some kind of special coffin. She didn't know where she was. Xinyan, you're awake. Lin Yi was surprised and happy. Lin Yi, I'm at your house. Xinyan remembered abruptly that she seemed to have followed Lin Yi to his villa, and then went to sleep with Yushu at night. She didn't remember anything after that. Could she have been unconscious all this time? It seemed like it, but what were these things around her? Why did Xinyan feel like she was filled with energy all of a sudden? Like she was full of energy? As if she had never been sick before? Yes, you're at home. You fainted earlier, and I heard that your body could absorb energy from the surroundings. So I got some energy stones, and it worked. It seems like your body can absorb the energy from these stones. Lin Yi said it very casually, as if it was something very normal. But Xinyan knew that it wasn't easy for Lin Yi to do all this. Xinyan didn't know how precious these energy stones were, nor did she know how he got them, but from the looks of it, they weren't ordinary. It wasn't easy for Lin Yi to get so many of them all at once. Xinyan felt a little touched, but she wasn't very good at expressing her gratitude. She was a quiet girl, and she wasn't very good at expressing her feelings with words. She only felt that Lin Yi treated her very well. And if Lin Yi asked her to do anything, she would do it, including giving up her life. Xinyan seemed to think of something all of a sudden. With these energy stones, I won't faint anymore. Lin Yi, I feel like I'm full of energy. It's all because of these energy stones, right? HM, you feel full of energy? It seems like these energy stones are very effective. That's great. Lin Yi was very happy after hearing Xinyan's words. It seemed like Aunt Qing's method was very effective. Then, can you hug me and train? You don't have to worry about me fainting because of the energy stones, right? Xinyan said, blushing. Train. Xinyan was a fatal temptation to Lin Yi. Not only could he hug her to sleep, but he could also increase his strength. It was a win-win situation like this, and naturally, Lin Yi would like it. But right now, Lin Yi couldn't be sure if his training speed with Xinyan in his arms would be faster than Xinyan's own absorption speed. It wouldn't be a problem if it was slower than Xinyan's absorption speed, but if it was faster, wouldn't Xinyan faint every day? 1 or 2 days was fine, but if she passed out every day, wouldn't that cause problems for her body? Lin Yi felt that it was better to be cautious. After all, this was related to Xinyan's health. You've just woken up. Why don't you pass? I don't want to affect your health. Lin Yi rejected after some hesitation. It's fine. I'll give it a try. Xinyan suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I haven't been hugged in a long time. I kind of miss it, being hugged by Lin. It made Xinyan feel very comfortable and at ease. She hadn't felt this way in a long time, and it made her miss it a little. Then, all right. Lin Yi didn't want to reject Xinyan's offer. It'd be a little hurtful, too. If it didn't work after one night, Lin Yi could stop training. Chapter 3373. But I'm not sleepy right now. I'm full of energy. Lin Yi, can you tell me where these energy stones came from? And what's going on with my body? Xinyan's breathing was a little ragged from Lin Yi's hug, and she wanted to change the topic and talk to Lin Yi. All right, we'll have to start from the day you fell unconscious. Lin Yi didn't reject the offer. Xinyan had been unconscious for so many days, and it was only natural that he'd just woken up. Xinyan listened to Lin Yi's story, and while Lin Yi was playing it down, it was still a very dangerous thing. Just running into Kong Mingming in the bubble Li clan wasn't a good thing. Kong Mingming was a narrow-minded man, and he'd always been pissed that she'd been with Lin Yi instead of his brother. There was no way he wouldn't cause trouble for Lin Yi. But now that Lin Yi was talking about it, it made it sound like Lin Yi had run into Kong Mingming and he'd gotten his friends from the Bubbly clan to get rid of Little One, and Kong Mingming owed him a chi-gathering pill. No matter how you looked at it, it was Lin Yi bullying Kong Mingming. Of course, Xinyan knew that Lin Yi wasn't someone like that, but she didn't question him. She listened quietly, surprised by the number of energy stones around her. You're saying that the jade on your chest can charge energy stones? Xinyan and Lin Yi often slept in each other's arms, and naturally knew that Lin Yi had a jade as well. She didn't ask about it, but now that Lin Yi was talking about it, she realized just how powerful Lin Yi's jade was. Not only did it have a storage space, it could charge energy stones as well. Yeah, it's just that living people can't go in. If it's possible to go in, I'll let you in directly. Then I won't have to worry about your body's energy loss anymore, Lin Yi said regretfully. Lin Yi had an indescribable trust in Xinyan, so he told her about the jade pendant. Moreover, with Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need to hide these things. Things were different now. The enemies that Lin Yi feared in the past were now afraid of Lin Yi. It doesn't matter. Energy stones are the same. I can still be full of energy after using energy stones to recharge them. Xinyan suddenly realized how blessed she was. Lin Yi was willing to go through all that trouble just to get these energy stones for her. Can you tell me more about what happened? I want to hear. Sure. Lin Yi knew that Xinyan had fainted before, and while she had enough energy stones, she was still worried that she'd faint again. Talking to her now would put her at ease. Gradually, Xinyan grew sleepy as well. She fell asleep in Lin Yi's arms, a satisfied and happy smile still on her face. Lin Yi took a deep breath and entered the jade space, trying to use Xinyan's fragrance to speed up his training once more. Lin Yi's strength had gone through a couple of levels. He was now Sky Class mid-phase, thanks to the Chi-gathering pill. It wasn't easy to level up again, but Lin Yi's third stage of the art of dragon mastery was close to perfection. Lin Yi was already looking forward to the benefits of the fourth stage. The next morning, Lin Yi drove the jeep to school with Yushu and Xinyan, just like before. It had been a while since Lin Yi last came to school, and he couldn't help but feel a little absent-minded. In the blink of an eye, there were 2 people missing from his side. Han Jingjing and Meng Yao wouldn't be in school anymore. Ever since Han Jingjing's identity was exposed, she hadn't been coming back to school. It seemed that her previous identity was just to hide it from Lin Yi. Meng Yao, on the other hand, hadn't been back since she went to the Dark Palace. After that, it was probably Shu's turn. Shu didn't have much time left in this school. But when they arrived at school, Lin Yi suddenly realized that there was no one there. Right, it's already the holidays. Lin Yi laughed bitterly. Why didn't you guys remind me? Oh. Yushu raised her head. Shield bro, where are we going? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Yushu's words. It seemed that he wasn't the only one with a heavy heart these past few days. Even Shu was the same. It seemed that Shu didn't even know that he was going to school. She just followed Lin Yi out in a daze. It's fine. We're just going for a ride. Lin Yi shrugged. I lost track of time when I fainted. I thought school started. Xinyan was a little embarrassed. All right, let's go home. Lin Yi smiled and started the car. Overseas Practitioners Association this year, Lu Odong also received an invitation to the Sky Class Trials. He was the first to receive it. As the younger brother of the acting head of the Five Elements sect, Elder Xianchen only notified him because they were relatives, but in reality, Elder Xianchen didn't have much hope that Lu Odong would send someone to participate. After all, it was a long journey, and the rewards of the Sky Class Trials weren't enough to move Lu Odong. But Lu Odong was really moved. Of course, what moved him wasn't the rewards, but the fact that Lin Yi would be participating in the Sky Class Trials. This was what the Xianchen ancestor had written to his family at the back of the invitation. The Xianchen ancestor was prepared to let his disciple, Little Heir, and the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Sky Silkworm Form, attack together to kill Lin Yi. It could be said that Luo hated Lin Yi to the bone. So he wanted to participate in what the Xianchen ancestor had said. Elder Wang, can you call Song over? I have something to talk to her about. Luo Dong said after a moment of silence. Guess Song? Leader, are you going to let her? Elder Wang also read the invitation and letter from Elder Xianchen. He knew what Luo Dong was thinking. Yes, I've thought about it. Only Song is familiar with the Central Plains, and her strength is not a problem. Luo Dong nodded. Chapter 3374. If you have something to say, just say it. Luonan could tell that Elder Wang was implying something, but this Elder Wang was one of them, so there was nothing to hide. Yes, Elder Wang nodded. After pondering for a moment, he cautiously said, President, even though guest Elder Song owes us a favor, you must have forgotten that her identity is extraordinary. If we were to request for her help, it would be fine if it's a small matter, but if it's a big matter, shouldn't we consult the honorary Great Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Luonan suddenly realized. In the association, there was an honorary Grand Elder, who was also a training maniac. These years, he had used the association's resources to break through again and again, and now he was at Sky Class Late Phase Peak Full Circle. When Luonan first came here, he was only a mystic late phase peak. But after receiving the resources, this person had been progressing rapidly. He was a rare training genius. But this person's strength was special, and Luonan didn't dare to restrict him too much. So he gave him the title of Honorary Grand Elder. He didn't ask about the association's affairs, and only trained in isolation every day, trying to find an opportunity to step into the heavenly law. Of course, the association didn't have any use for him at the moment. Even Luonan hadn't seen this person for a few years. If Chairman Wang didn't mention it, he would have forgotten about it. There was a reason why he mentioned the honorary Grand Elder at this time. This honorary Grand Elder's name was Song Xianghua, and it was said that he was guest Song's second grandfather. This made Luonan feel that a tiger had no grandchildren. His entire family was a top-level master. Of course, this news hadn't been confirmed, and no one dared to ask Song Xianghua about such a small matter. As for guest Elder Song, She was just a guest elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. She was even more distant than the honorary elders. Her profession was an assassin and mercenary, and she was usually not in the association. She would only come if there was a major event. However, when there was a major event, it was even more impossible for anyone to ask about it. How about this? Invite guest Elder Song here, and I'll ask her. If she really is Great Elder Song's granddaughter, I'll bring her to meet Great Elder Song. He Luodong had to be careful. Although Song Xianghua was his subordinate, their strength was equal. In the world of practitioners, strength spoke louder. This last matter will have to be used sooner or later. Besides, she is a mercenary and an assassin. She is not like us. Even if she has reached the peak of external martial arts and is considered a practitioner, she will not join us. Since he would have to use this opportunity sooner or later, he might as well use it now. I'm using her this time because I'm afraid that my big brother won't be able to kill that Lin Yi. That Lin Yi was extremely strange. If that little fool and the heavenly silkworm transformation were not his match, wouldn't that mean that Lin Yi would be able to leave alive? But with honored guest Song, a peak late stage, heaven stage, external sect assassin, Lin Yi will definitely die. Oh, that's true. Then I'll go invite honored guest Song. Elder Wang nodded. In the afternoon, President Wang returned, and with him came a young girl who looked to be 18 or 19 years old. She looked like a sunny and beautiful student, wearing a t-shirt, hot pants, and sunglasses. Walking in the crowd, the only thing that could attract people's attention was that she was pretty, and from other aspects, it was really hard to tell that she was a female killer. Seeing honored guest Song come in, he Luodong did not dare to be arrogant. He stood up and greeted, "Honored guest Song, you're here? Welcome, welcome." "President He, are you looking for me for the third matter?" Honored guest Song smiled and did not bother with pleasantries. "After this matter is over, I won't be honored guest Song anymore." He Luodong's face froze for a moment. He laughed dryly and said, "Even if you're not our honored guest elder, we are both practitioners from overseas. We are still friends." "Say it. What's the matter?" Honored guest Song did not say anything else and asked directly, "The matter? Before I say it, I want to ask if honored guest Song has any intention of returning to the Central Plains?" He Luodong asked. "Return to the Central Plains? Huaxia?" Honored guest Song was stunned. "Yes, Huaxia," he Luodong said, and handed the invitation letter given to him by ancestor Xianchen to honored guest Song. Then he said, "Honored guest Song, take a look at this invitation letter first." "Oh, invitation letter? Where is it from?" Honored guest Song was slightly stunned. Then he took the letter from he Luodong and looked at it. The Heaven Class trial? Initiated by the Five Elements sect? Ancient sect? Honored guest Song was obviously not very clear about the division of powers in the Central Plains, but he had a general idea of the framework. "Yes, and it is the most powerful sect among the ancient sections." He Luodong nodded and said, "Honored guest Song, can you participate in this trial?" "Why me?" Honored guest Song did not answer, but asked a question instead. "Well, I want you to find a chance to kill someone in the trial. If you agree, I will tell you in detail," he Luodong said. "However, isn't this mission a little too far away?" Honored guest Song slightly frowned. "Moreover, according to the rules set by the King of Assassins, it is against the rules for our assassins to appear in Huaxia without permission. President He, you should know who the King of Assassins is, right?" "Of course I know. He is one of the famous Killer Vajra duo." He Luodong laughed dryly and said, "Honored guest Song is a relative of Great Elder Song Xianghua." Honored guest Song slightly raised his eyebrows and looked at he Luodong with a smile that was not a smile. "President He, you are really well informed." "Yes, he is my second grandfather." "As far as I know, Great Elder Song is from the Central Plains." You can use the excuse of going home to visit your family. There are no restrictions, right? Even if it is the Killer Vidra duo, they can't control that much, right? He Luodong smiled. Moreover, there has been no news of the Killer Vidra duo for a long time. Honored guest Song thought for a moment and said, "Come with me to see my second grandfather. I will ask him what he has to say." "That is exactly what I was thinking. Honored guest Song, please follow me." He Luodong made an inviting gesture. The place where Song Xianghua went into seclusion was located in the Overseas Cultivators Association. It was a villa with its own courtyard. He Luodong brought honored guest Song to the front of the villa, but he did not rashly enter. Instead, he raised his voice and said, "Is Great Elder Song here? I have something to discuss with him." You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.